Are you listening? Damn.
And the ball is loose. Third and 4.
Welcome to another edition of the AFC North Talk presented by True Classic. We're going to be talking about them very soon. Thank you, True Classic, for presenting and sponsoring today's show. With the anime here with a quick super chat. We appreciate that, brother. Let me guess. Cribs and Joe Thomas will be snubbed and from the hole. Like Joe Thomas is just walking to the hole.
Yeah,
Joe Thomas is getting in. He's eligible this year.
He's his first year eligible, right?
Yeah,
but fitting in Josh Cribbs with Joe. Like, I love Josh Cribbs. He was one of my first favorite Brown growing up. But fitting him in with like Joe Thomas, that's nasty. That's nasty.
Yeah, I don't know if Joe Cribbs. Again, this is where I go back to like it's the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of Very Good. You know?
Yeah.
Like I fight with Steeler fans a lot because a lot of Steeler fans want Hines Ward in, and Hines Ward was a very good Steeler.
I hate him.
Is he a Hall of Fame Steeler?
He's a Hall of Fame Steeler, but not a Hall of Fame player.
Right, he's like a Hall of Honor. You know what I mean? Like in the stadium, of course. Yeah, you're gonna see his stuff everywhere. Is he in the Hall of Fame though? That's where I give it.
Yeah, Cripps is not a Hall of Fame. I'm sorry.
Non sequitur. How do you guys feel about retiring numbers? Are you guys for it or against it? I'm against it. I think it's silly.
Here's my thing. I don't like when they immediately give the number back out. Right? Like imagine if they gave Kenny Pickett 7 this year.
Like, take time. Weird? Take time. That's weird. Yeah,
right.
But
you gotta you know.
Yeah, like
the Ravens haven't retired.
But if it's been like 20 years, you know what I mean? Or like I get if it's Ray Lewis and it's the Ravens, and like Ray Lewis is like you're a newer franchise, and the player is literally integral to the building of that franchise in Ray Lewis, right? Like that's basically the de facto mascot for the Ravens is Ray Lewis. Okay, I get that, right? That's why 32 doesn't get given out for the Browns because the Browns, a lot of people think it stands for Jim Brown, right? But like, I don't think we should be retiring dudes who is like really like people want Bernie Kosar's number retired at Cleveland. I'm like, I don't think that's.
I would say this. I know a lot of Ravens fans, for example, were mad that number 5 was given up, right, for Joe Flacco. And I'm like, okay, it's not that serious, right? Like, because the Ravens 52, nobody has word. 20, nobody has word. And we drafted PQ and mostly after Ray. And I remember, I don't know which one of the two. I think it was mostly that Aussie said, like, I would suggest you weren't 52. You know, after drafting him. And nobody, I don't think any player that goes to Baltimore, for example, linebacker, whoever, the word 52, it's just bringing it too much. Like in the Cowboys, you were 88, right? As a receiver, do you really want to wear 88? Because it's like an expectation to like go up so high.
But then like so many dudes wear 88 that like I don't even think it's that big of a deal. Yeah.
The wide receiver numbers, there just aren't well, I mean, you can wear single digits now, so now you can.
Yeah.
But like back in the day, the reason why the Steelers didn't retire Lynn Swann or John Stallworth's number is, you know, there are only so many 80s to give out. And so but like there's no 12. Like, the Steelers aren't giving out 12. 32, Franco Harris' number is actually getting retired, right? Jack Lambert, 58. You know, so those numbers in Pittsburgh are. What's that?
They do retire numbers in
Pittsburgh. They've retired. I think this is going to be the second or third number they've officially retired. There are other numbers that they just don't give out. By the way, we should say that Ace is coming today. He is.
Ace is on his way.
O-line numbers should never be retired, and I stand on that principle. I don't want to see those 60s retired, those 70s retired. I don't. Do you think of Joe Thomas? What's Joe Thomas's number right now?
73, right?
70.
You're not sure about it, right? That's the problem. Like, it's an online number.
Sounds right. Was it 3 or 8?
It's 73. It's 73.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, but I'm a Browns fan that watched him his entire career, and sometimes I think it's 72. Like, it's just, it's not that synonymous when you look at an offense. The only time you hear an offensive lineman's number is when they hold it. So why would you want that number retired? You know what I mean? Like, that's just where I am with it. But yeah, Just an interesting
Josh,
conversation we got to have.
So this is my thing. Josh Cribbs should not sniff the Hall of Fame. The only guy as a return guy that you can convince me to be a Hall of Famer is Hester.
Yeah, wait, hold on. What about Dante Hall?
Oh, hold on.
Dante Hall.
People
make
the argument
Hall
that
had like a Terrell Davis, like 2 years of just unbelievable.
Hester was like, think
no, Hester should be in. I'm not.
Chicago and Indianapolis, that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think the only points that they scored were returns from Hester. And
well, he returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown.
Look, man, Sonny, that era when it was Josh Cribbs versus Devin Hester, the arguments people would make for Josh Cribbs being better than Devin Hester. Look, Josh Cribbs is a better defensive player on special teams than Devin Hester.
Well, Hester is a return guy. Other than return, his value was not there, right? But as a return, he was special. Like he
Josh
was
Cribbs was a decent wide receiver for like a year.
But I still see, growing up, what years were Dante Hall really good? Because I remember Dante Hall. I remember thinking
Dante Hall for the Kansas City. He was like 2004, 2003.
Something like that, right?
The year where he had that one punt kick return where he just cut back all the way from like the 10 through the end zone and then scored. That was like, oh, wow.
It's like if you remember Reggie Bush in college at USC, you'll never like those. You're just like, yo, that guy is unbelievable.
I didn't watch college football, but I enjoy watching Reggie Bush play because that dude was just insane.
I remember young me being transfixed. He was playing Ball State or something like that, and he had like just stopped.
Fresno State.
Dude flew. Yeah. Dude flew. He stopped, and he just right back. I was like, what?
And that was kind of how I learned at whatever age I was that there really is a transition between college and pro football. Because when I watched, it was young me is like, how could Reggie Bush and all the things he can do on a football field not translate 1-to-1 exactly to the National Football League?
I agree.
We all got a hard lesson in that, didn't we? Because Reggie was a fine pro, but
he was good. He was a decent player, but we thought he was gonna be transcendent.
The greatest player that ever touched the field.
It makes you appreciate how good Barry Sanders had to have been that he was doing stuff like that in the NFL, because the talent is insane, and especially now where edge rushers run 4.6. It's not even something we go, oh my god, at anymore.
You want to know something interesting though, Q? When Barry Sanders was actually good, there was a whole, maybe it's because I grew up in Chicago and it was all Bears fans, but there was a whole contingent of people who thought Barry Sanders wasn't good. He was all just kind of feast or famine style. At the time,
because the Lions weren't good.
It's all -2, -3 yard runs, and then he'll break a 50-yarder off, right? It's that's not good. I remember that being I remember in my childhood that being a legitimate criticism of Barry Sanders. We don't talk about it now. No one says that now, but at the time, and maybe it was just because it was all Bears fans. But
so the question here, Q, is really, how about kickers? Do you retire kickers?
No.
Yeah, Justin Tucker's number.
Nah.
9.
Nah. No. You could put Justin Tucker in the Ring of Fame. You can respect Justin Tucker, but we're not about to be oh, that 9 can't be one. No, no, stop it.
Up and coming quarterback in 20 years from now coming to the Ravens. No, number 9 is Tucker. You can't read Tucker.
If Lamar wanted to change his number to 9, Justin Tucker would have to find a new number, dog. That's just what it is.
There's so many 9s in the stadium too, by the way. People, I would say the ladies love to rock number 9, but also a lot of dudes are rocking number 9 in the stadium. At least it's gonna be 3 years since I haven't been in the stadium. Hopefully next year I'll be that back. But yeah, Tucker's a well-sold jersey in local commercials too. People love Tucker in Baltimore.
Oh yeah, he's got the advertising money too. So why did he make him give him a new contract? He screwed him. He made him get him all as soon as
now the Ravens can't sign. Now the Ravens can't re-sign Lamar because they've signed Justin Tucker.
Tucker's too greedy.
They made their choice.
The Ravens, I feel like they want to sign JPP, but I think JPP's holding for more money, and that's why
Lamar just sitting there
JPP. You guys have an OA in
Yeah, but we lost our third. We literally had 2
healthy linebackers right now. That's right. I forgot about
We had
Lamar looking at JPP so you want more money.
That's 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks 2 gone for the year players again.
Yeah, Kyle
in
Hamilton.
Baltimore.
It's rough out there. Is
Yeah,
Tyus Bowser still on the
it's
team?
actually three players. The left tackle.
Oh yeah, that's right, Juwan James too. Oh, you can't count Juwan James. I mean, that's
I get it. I agree.
That's like when what's the I don't mean to be mean to this guy, but what's the nickel corner that Tavon Young? You know what I mean? It's like when Tavon Young went down. It's like, oh well, he went down again.
I think he's injured right now for the Bears. He's in the Bears. I think he's injured. He's such a good player. It's sad that it's one of those. So you got a good player that doesn't stay healthy. It happens.
Yeah.
You all get those.
Kendrell Bell in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you root for them. You're like, damn it, man. If you can only stay healthy, so it sucks.
Yep.
Anyway,
Greedy Williams on IR right now.
Greedy Williams is the greatest what if of all time because I really like Greedy coming out, but I've actually never seen him play a full NFL game yet, so it's hard to do the eval.
Does he even make the team the following year?
Yeah, his contract's up after this year.
Years. Yeah, he's been
he's about to be out of his rookie deal.
No, somebody will take a flyer and see if he can stay healthy, and if he doesn't, if next year he comes and doesn't stay healthy, that's it.
I'm pretty sure in 4 years, homie has like less than 30 games he's like played in.
Yeah.
Oh, just another as long as we're just doing tangent start to the show. Speaking of an injured player who was resurrecting his career, did you guys hear all this new? Oh, you guys probably didn't. Artie Burns in Seattle was like reports were that this guy was going to be their number 1 corner, that he was looking
Artie
great.
Burns.
I
thought he left the NFL like 5 years ago.
No, he played on the Bears and he got hurt for the year, and then he went to Seattle and it sounded like he was about to resurrect his career again, and then he went down again with injury. So just another aside there. How strange is that though, Artie? But do you ever think Artie Burns is going to be a good corner in this league?
I thought he.
That's always an interesting feeling when like a player that you're very familiar with goes to another team and you can see them. Like for me, it's always like Tristan Thompson for like basketball, where it's like every time Tristan Thompson comes to a new team, they fall in love with some of this stuff. And I'm like, I know how this relationship ends with Tristan Thompson every time. I know how it ends, right? I mean, it's kind of like watching like Carolina fans with Baker. I'm like, I was watching them through that whole trip. Like, I know how this going to end for y'all. It's all right. It's all right. You know, it's always interesting. It's like, oh yeah. Because when you get rid of them players they're not bad, but they're good enough to piss you off, right? Like they're good enough to be bad, you know? And that's those are always the interesting ones.
Anime here tried to stick it to the Steelers. Haden retire a Brown. He's still Cleveland.
He probably should retire. I mean, like, you know, I saw some Steeler fans upset about this morning, but he played. Well, how long did he play? It was like 8 years and then 5 or 6 in Pittsburgh, right?
Mm-hmm. 2010 to 2018.
But I remember him as a Brown. Well, recently
he had his best years in his career as a Brown. You know what I mean? Like that's when he was a consistent All-Pro guy, considered one of the best corners in football.
Right.
I know there's still Browns fans mad that he went to Pittsburgh. Like I
you
just
cut him, right?
They cut him. They literally robbed him. They told him they would pay him money. They didn't pay him money. Then they cut him. And the only reason he went to Pittsburgh was because he wanted to keep his kids in school in Cleveland, because Pittsburgh's like only an hour and a half drive away. So like, how can you hate that guy? Yeah. Like hating Joe Haden is a choice that I can't get along. He's like the nicest dude of all time. Never hurt anybody. Like there's like, I think TJ Ward said it best. If I'm around somebody, they start talking bad about Joe Haden, that really makes me think that you're not a good person, because like Joe's loved by everybody. So yeah, it's just I'm happy for Joe. Glad he got to end his career there. Well, technically, he could play though if he can get the call in right. Like we need somebody. If he want to suit up, like this could be more than one day. You know, if he watched one last game in brown and orange, he could. So I'm pretty sure Joe can still run cover 2. You know what I mean? Like,
OE Club, shout out to you. Thank you for the donation. SCG, are those Sony XM4s you're wearing? Thank you. They're Sony's. The other part, I don't know. Somebody gave this to me. I'm not to spend too much money on.
I think the XM4s are the Bluetooth ones. They do look very similar to the XM4.
These are Bluetooth.
Oh, okay.
I can have them Bluetooth, but and it has noise canceling.
Yeah, those are the XM4. Those are really nice. I had a pair and I left them.
Super comfy.
I left them in my rental car coming back from Pittsburgh. It's the saddest thing I've ever done.
I would say these are legit one of the probably the best.
That's like a $200.
They're so
more than 2.
the Sonys, really?
Again,
I
those
didn't buy
retail
them.
for $300.
My wife gave me.
Yeah, right now, and those are like there's like XM7s now, so like they were expensive when you got them. Lost them. But I would have flagged that car down, dog. Like,
No, I didn't realize until I got home. I went through my backpack and I'm like, where are those headphones? And yeah, they're in the rental car. Cool. My wife's like, oh, you should call the rental company. I said, listen, they're not going to be those aren't showing up in Lost and Found. I think whoever found those is in claiming it.
Tyler here says Brown Steelers about to have a mid off.
Yeah, well, mid would be whoever can be mid is going to win this game. Is really how it's going to go.
I said, and with this we'll transition to the games. I said to the guys on the backstage, I said, the Browns can be first when it's all said and done after this week. And also, at the same time, we can all be looking another week that nobody wins, because if there's a game to be tied, as Q said, this will be the two teams. Let's start here with the Ravens.
Like the Browns won't be up 14 points and just decide, nah, man, we don't like being up 14 points. You know what I mean? We should be in first right now. Browns should be in first right now if they held it together for 2 minutes.
The Ravens as well. But yeah, I agree. Anyway,
I mean, at least y'all collapse took a quarter. Like the first 6 minutes of a quarter, mind you, but like at least it took a quarter to blow it. 80 seconds. We couldn't hold 80 seconds, no timeouts. The old ass Joe Flacco.
I had not NBA. One of the how I learned football. This is a story. It was NFL 2K, I think it was. It had the ESPN Terrell Owens in the
2K5. Great. I mean, you learned from the greatest football game ever made.
Right. And be fair, again, I live in Puerto Rico. Not a lot of NFL fans in Puerto Rico, so it wasn't like I was kicking it. And English was not my first language either, so it wasn't like I was absorbing a lot. But a lot of the rules I got it from there. But I agree, great game. The halftime show was with the dude from ESPN, and
Berman.
It was a great game. Anyway, where I was going with this,
You learned something from the game.
Yeah, but it was something about you guys said something that reminded me.
ESPN 2K5 changed the course of history of this podcast, because without that game and its stellar accurate depiction of trenches play, Sonny would not be falling in love with the trenches if he had to watch Madden. You know what I mean? Like, he was out here playing Madden.
They still have not I mean, even Madden to this day is still not as good a product as what was out there.
I remember again, I don't come from a family that had a lot of money, so it was awesome that they sold it for $20. I do remember that it only cost me $20. I was so excited when I saved the $20 and I was able to play. And there was a cheat code because I used the Eagles. Again, full disclosure, I used the Eagles, and that post to Terrell Owens, it was like automatic post to Terrell Owens. I was killing it.
You start feeling like you were in the game when you start throwing it with the anticipation. You see him do that. You're like, oh, yeah, he's about to break.
I know.
Ball out, you know?
The reason why I brought this up was they had this in the game. They had this portion that it was recreate, or you had to try to get plays that were historical.
Oh.
Yeah,
right? Like 3 seconds from the 20-yard line, you had to score a touchdown. And there was plays that happened, and they would say in this year this play happened, and you get the team, right? It was like a 60-something Bears against the Packers, and you get the same players and all that. That situation, the Browns and Jets should be in that. That's improbable.
I think it was, because you know who was the last team to do something like that? Yes. The Browns in 2001. So it was probably in there, dog. It was probably in there. If there was a way to make Dwayne Rutt take off his helmet, that would be in there too. But, you know.
Yeah, did they simulate the beer cans on the field?
Yeah, them calling it. That's not on the Browns. They called a challenge 2 plays after the play to go back to a play and then overturn it. Yeah, I mean, it was the right call, but they went about it the wrong way. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was late. The play got ran.
Tony, why can Mitch set his feet? Looks like a 10-year-old play. That's
fantastic.
Back here and check it out.
Because he's I mean, this is what happens when a player is playing with absolutely no confidence, right? He is playing scared. This is a guy who has no idea what he wants to do with the ball, right? He has no confidence in himself, And so he's just happy to get rid of it wherever he can. And I think, you see that the more you watch him. It's a good point, though. I mean, he is not setting his feet. He made it actually a really good back foot throw to Deontay on a comeback on like a 3rd and 20. But yeah, Trubisky's playing with zero confidence right now.
People thought that he got fixed because he was on the Bills for a year as a backup, right? They're like, oh, well, he learned now that system. He'll be good. I mean, this is not the Steelers. Literally, I heard a lot of people, oh, Mitch will be top-rated free agent because of that. Zach Cripps wasn't allowed to retire as the Browns, but others are kind of messed up.
He didn't retire as a Brown because he came back and coached for the team for like a year.
Oh, that's right. He did coach.
Yeah, he was on Hard Knocks coaching for the Browns.
Yeah,
right. He's around the team. Look, Josh Cribbs has his love in Cleveland. Like, trust me, Josh Cribbs don't pay for nothing in Cleveland. Like, we still love Josh Cribbs. So, he got his flowers. He's getting his flowers, and he got them.
It's like Jacoby Jones in Baltimore. People love Jacoby Jones.
And look, Josh Cribbs didn't even return no kick return in the Super Bowl. He ain't do nothing close to that. You know what I mean? I don't think Josh Cribbs returned the kick return in a beautiful game since 2007 versus the Steelers in a game in which the Browns lost. It did not make the playoffs because of. So, like, it's good to be Josh Cribbs in Cleveland.
Hey, Q. Tony. Hey, Q and Tony. Browns had players only meeting last night. I'm glad. What are your thoughts? Go Browns. Talk check.
You give up a 13-point lead in 80 seconds, so you better have a team meeting. On a short week,
I don't know.
Better have a
players
team
only.
Meeting.
Players only after week 2. Players only after week 2 is a little bit like.
It happened last year. I mean, look, I'm firmly in the belief that Joe Woods has to be fired. But like last year it happened and Myles Garrett came out with the shirt off and they won. They got like 12 sacks in that game. Like there's something stupid going on with the coaching staff and how the calls are getting out there and how it's getting communicated and told to get communicated with the players. So every year they have to come together and say, all right, this is what we're going to do. And then they do that and then that works. Again, Joe Woods probably like either he has to find somebody who could do the communication stuff for him because I think he's a decent like scheme guy, defensive coordinator, but this is what gets people exposed as position coaches rather than coordinators is this kind of stuff, right? Because he has a good defensive mind. It's just this stuff keeps going wrong. And this is why he can't be a coordinator if this continues.
Yeah. I mean, that you seen that from guys to go be a head coach was a great coordinator. They can be a head coach. And for
Nathaniel Hackett
coach. Well, it's too early for Hackett.
With Nathaniel Hackett,
when you're counting down, no.
Yeah, no. The thing with Nathaniel Hackett, the thing with Nathaniel Hackett is like, I don't even know if he's a good, like with Mike McDaniel, I watch his team play and I'm like, I don't know if he's a good head coach. I know for a fact that he's a good offensive coordinator, right? Like, because he does things, you're like, okay, he's being creative. He's using his pieces. Like, I know he's a good offensive coordinator. There was a question because he came under Kyle Shanahan. Nathaniel Hackett got me questioning everything. Like, wow, how did you get this job? Huh?
He was a key coach under LaFleur, right?
Yeah. Was he OC last year? He was OC last year.
Okay. I thought Matt was calling.
Anyway, I mean, you saw that they were counting down the play clock. The fans were counting down the play clock because they took so many delay games in that game.
Tony, they got a position coach out there coaching head football coach for him. That's not going to be good. I don't know why Russ went there.
I'm gonna tell you this. I get it on Hackett. I mean, that's what people are talking. But you have like Russell Wilson's not a third-year QB.
No, this is true.
He's a bad quarterback. He needs to be aware of this, right? Yeah. So
it's not all on Hackett. I will agree with you on
that. I hear everybody talking about Hackett. I'm like, okay, Hackett deserves his, the scrutiny he's getting. But come on, man.
Russ is a high tier, mid tier guy. You know what I mean? He's basically where Matt Stafford was last year, where it's like he's a mid ranger. His days of being like a franchise, like, ooh, it's Russ. He ain't Russ no more. He's just kind of Russell Wilson.
You dodged a bullet on that one because you and I did like a GM thing on your channel.
And I'm on it, Russ. Here's my thing. Here's my thing. If Russ were on the Browns, I think he would be better than what he looks like. I think he would look a lot better. Given that Jacoby Brissett is like 7th in DVOA right now, QB. I think Russ would be looking pretty good right now. But Yeah, I think he needs to be in that situation. You need to treat him like a mid-range guy. I think they treated him like he was an elevator still. He's not that guy anymore. He's still a good quarterback. He will give you 2 or 3 drives of Russ, but for the rest of that game, he's Russell Wilson. And that's very different than Russ. You know what I mean? It's like when Cam Newton became Cameron Newton. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, okay.
Oh, my Forkle to Mac.
Yep.
So Joe Burrow, this is like Rex, shout out to you, man. This is a great just nugget of information. Joe Burrow has lost more yards being sacked, 73, than Najee Harris has in rush yards, 72.
Somehow that's like a double shot at both Steelers fans and Bengals fans. Like, who am I?
Must be a Ravens fan. Yeah, gotta be a Ravens fan.
Am I supposed to be impressed by that? Like,
yeah, I want that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Okay, Tony, you know what? Let's play some Bills and then let's start.
Let's do it. Of course, football is back, baby, and our new sponsor, True Classic, wants you to look and feel your best even after a couple of brewskis or going full force on your fantasy football draft. Sure, it's football season, but it's also butt to couch season. Luckily, True Classic has the absolute best fitting clothing a man can buy. Snug in the arms and chest, a little extra space in the torso. Their t-shirts are designed to keep you cozy and highlight your best assets no matter what you're up to. So if your special someone is upset that you're watching football all day, at least you can look good doing it. True Classic has already helped over 2 million men find the perfect fit at an affordable price. Our listeners get access to the best deal they offer. For a limited time, get 25% off with the code AFC North Talk. That's AFC North Talk at trueclassic.com. Almost all men's t-shirts are designed to look good on skinny models with six-packs. But most of us aren't packing anything other than a few beers. Fellas, you're wearing the wrong clothes. True Classics tees taper off towards the bottom, but they fit tighter around the chest and shoulders. It's time to highlight your best attributes with a t-shirt you can always feel confident throwing on. Not only are you going to get a t-shirt designed for the male body, but the first thing you'll notice is how soft it is. The colors are prime too, and you can even match your team of choice. True Classic doesn't stop at tees. They're your one-stop shop for men's essentials. From polos and workout shirts with the same flattering fit to boxer briefs designed with a pouch to keep your bulge nice and comfortable. All their gear is top-notch quality at reasonable prices. They even have a dope pack builder on their website where you can custom bundle all of their essential products and save even more than the discount we're offering you today. And any of us defense-sized players, they have long body options for the tall guys and up to 3XL on their staple colors. Whether you have abs or flabs, their clothes look great on all body types. Let's stop beer belly shaming with better clothes. Men, let's be team players here. Upgrade your wardrobe with True Classic and help your friends out by telling them about these tees as well. It's time for you to get your fit together. Upgrade your wardrobe with True Classic and get 25% off at trueclassic.com with the code AFC North Talk. That's AFC North Talk, all one word.
Yeah, and also shout out to Adam Holland. Big Patreon, top tier. Thank you for supporting.
Oh, we have another top tier. We have a new one. Just came in.
Oh, we do. Okay,
yeah, I'll get it right now. We have another one that just came in.
We got
shout out to all everyone who supports us on.
We got a new draft pick.
Also, I will say this, guys. So with True Classic, great products. We all use it. We like them a lot.
They're awesome.
We are right now in a probation period with them. If you buy their shirts during this week, send us your purchase order. We'll give you a special shout out for that. Yeah. Don't forget to use the promo code. That way you get 25% off. Don't lose those 25 free shipping. Go get your thing.
Their shirts, you will notice the difference right off the top. As soon as you put that shirt on, you'll know this is different. This is different than the other shirt. Yeah, I mean they
show us that True Classic difference. Add us on Twitter and we'll shout you out here.
Yeah.
Indeed. And another shout out to our newest Patreon at the highest level here, Dom Gazzulo. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Dom Gazzulo. Shout out to you, Dom, on Patreon.
Dom got 2 jobs on Patreon, man. That's one of my patrons, man. Shout out to Dom.
There you go.
There you go. Secondary, the biggest problem right now, but I would love for the Browns to run more 5-2 fronts. We also like AB. AB always throws me off. The GM to get another. No, that's what I'm starting out to get another guy in the middle of the line.
No.
More disruptive than I expected, but we need more.
I appreciate the super chat, but the Browns run 5-2 out there. They can barely have these DBs communicate. They're not going to do it with more space. No. No, 5-2. They've been fine interior wise. Actually, I think that's been kind of overblown. Jordan Elliott has been good. And then Taven Bryant's been all right. That's fine. That's all you need. Now, we'll see without Jadeveon on the side how that holds up. But it's been holding up.
What happened to the boy, the rookie? I'm blanking his name right now.
Highsmith. I mean, not Highsmith. Not Highsmith. Alex Wright. He's been good. In limited roles.
Perion's suspended right now.
Perion. Perion working through some things, man.
Okay, let's go Bengals here. Let's start with the Bengals real quick. Ace, obviously 0-2. This is a bounce back game. Jets obviously come from a big victory, pulling out at the end against the AFC North opponent. What do you see about this game? How do you think the Bengals get right against the Jets?
Yeah, I think this game is a must win, especially after you lost 2 of your first 2 games. You start off 0-2, having offensive line problems, having offensive problems, just period. Joe Burrow doesn't look comfortable. This is a game where those excuses are going to be out of the window, right? Like, you had some time for the offensive line to get some cohesiveness because you didn't play in the preseason. You had time to adjust, and you're taking on another team that's a pretty favorable matchup for you in the New York Jets, right? This is not the Jets with Zach Wilson, not their starter. I do think the Jets are a formidable team. When you look at the roster, I actually think the only thing that they're missing is really that quarterback. But this is a game that you should win, right? This Jets team right now, they're just trying to figure out what they have with their young core, with Zach Wilson, where that's going to take them. They're not a team that's really ready to make a run right now for the playoffs. I think I see them as a team that could do that next year because they have so much young talent. When you talk about this Bengals offense, this staff has to put them in positions to have success. You talk about the anemic offense. The second quarter for the Bengals last year was one of those quarters where that is when they would have the explosive play most of the times. They're averaging 1.5 points right now in the second quarter. That's how bad it is. The only team that's worse than that are the Indianapolis Colts, which is honestly, after looking at the numbers, one of the worst offenses in football right now. But the Bengals offense right now, it's funny because we talk about them playing the Steelers and how much we don't like each other. They actually mirror a lot of the same issues that the Steelers have in terms of the offense, because you look at the points per game, both teams averaging 18.5, right? Both teams, the offensive line, even though I think Pittsburgh's offensive line is performing way over where people expected them to be at. But then they have all of these weapons, right? You talk about Chase Claypool, you talk about Deontay Johnson, all of these guys, but both teams are getting inefficient play calling from their offensive coordinator, right? You talk about Matt Canada, the Matt Canada offense. You talk about Zach Taylor. What is his offense? What is their identity? How do they, put points on the board? And in this game, I think one of the things that they have to stop is just the pressure, the sacks. They've got to do something with quick passes or something out of that nature to try to do it. Now, you did go against TJ Watt and Micah Parsons. The Jets don't really have a guy like that. I do think, however, that the Jets...
Revenge game? What are you talking about? Revenge game?
Yeah, maybe a revenge game for Lawson. He's good, but I think the Jets' defensive line is actually underrated. Quentin Williams, I think it's John Franklin Myers. Like, they got some dudes. Like, some people are talking like, oh, they don't have anybody. No, they have some dudes over there that can do some work. So you got to win in the trenches. We always talk about that. The Bengals right now, they're 7th in total defense. I don't know how much of that is really just facing some weak offenses or if it's really them like actually shutting people down. We're going to find out because we saw what Garrett Wilson did last week. We saw Joe Flacco look like how Ravens fans were talking about him back in the day when they said he was elite Joe Flacco. Throwing for, I still can't believe this, 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, no picks. Like, he could come in, if he comes in and tries to do that to this Bengals defense, which did let Cooper Rush get some points on them early in the first half, that's just not something that they can do. The strategy has to be, and I think Joe Burrow talked about it today at his press conference, they can't get behind in games. They can't have these slow starts, get down by multiple scores, because it's going to make it so much easier for teams to play them and let them not beat them over the top, play a lot of prevent defense and things like that, take the run game out of it, which is your key to beating cover 2, which Quincy and Tony talked about on the last show. They're going to have to get out to a fast start in this game, and it's hard to believe that because we as Bengals fans, we've watched this Zach Taylor offense. Even last year, they didn't really get out to fast starts. We're going to need that in this game. That's one of the keys. You talk about the 5.5 yards per attempt last week. That was just chuck down Charlie stuff. They're going to have to try to raise that a little bit more. The interesting thing about the New York Jets is last week they actually allowed 8.5 yards per attempt. And then you talk about some of the other things that they have there defensively. I actually think that they match up pretty well with the Bengals at the corner position. You talk about Sauce Gardner. You talk about DJ Reed, who some people believe may actually be on Jamar Chase more than Sauce. Those are guys that are really going to be able to match up for them. But the Bengals just have to go to their players. 3 yards per carry for Joe Mixon is unacceptable. Hopefully they can get something going. The Browns were able to get something going, but those are, that's a masterful team when it comes to running the football. But both of those guys ran well over 4 yards per carry last week. They got to get Joe Mixon going. From this standpoint, it's just a must win, man. Like, they got to take advantage of CJ Mosley with Haden Hurst. They got to come out and score. And they got to hope that Cheeto can lock up Garrett Wilson. I think that that's another key, but you can't forget about Elijah Moore. That's another guy to pay attention to for this Jets team. And you got to get pressure on the quarterback. The Bengals, even though they're this top 10 defense, they have not gotten to the quarterback. And that's an issue for them. Trey Hendrickson, 0 sacks right now. Sam Hubbard can't be your guy that's your leader in the trenches. You got to get something from someone else there. They're really missing Larry Ogunjobi from that 3-tech aspect of it. So they got to get after this guy. They got to get more pressure on him. Even though the Jets, honestly, a lot of people talked about Mekhi Becton went down. And the Jets offensive line is playing pretty damn good. They've only given up 2 sacks on the season so far. So you got to try to win that battle some type of way and take advantage of them, get up early on them. And then the only thing that makes me feel somewhat okay about this game is that the Bengals are familiar with Joe Flacco. Usually when the Bengals go into these situations where it's not the starting quarterback, look at their resume against it. They usually lose against those guys, going all the way back to TJ Yates back in the day because they just struggle with guys that they're not familiar with. Now, I won't say that Lou Anarumo is specifically familiar with Joe Flacco like that, maybe a little bit. But the Bengals have traditionally done pretty solid against Joe Flacco. So hopefully we get some of that magic now. A lot of the players aren't even there anymore, but he hasn't had the best luck against Cincinnati. Hopefully they can force some turnovers, some sacks, get out of here with a win, just win. That is all we need at this point is just get out there and win because you got Miami coming back on a short week. And if you don't get this one, that Miami one is not going to be in grass either. So I got the Bengals getting this one here in New York as a bounce back game for them because it's a must win week 3.
Throw style points out the window. Just get a win.
Yeah.
Love
doesn't
it.
matter. Look ugly.
Just win. Look at the W. Like,
you want to see what ugly wins look like?
Q, what do you think about this game, Q?
Yeah, I think I've done the Bengals no favors the last few weeks because I've been like, oh, they should win this one easily. You know what I mean? I'm gonna stop doing that to them. You know what I mean? Because apparently I've been giving them bad luck. Now I should want them to go 0-3, but I'm not gonna purposely put bad energy out there. But unless it's the Steelers, of course, the Steelers F them. Right. But yeah. But when it comes to this game, I do think there are some interesting issues that the Jets provide the Bengals with. Jets are a really good run defense team. They did a good job against the Ravens. I know Nick Chubb had 3 touchdowns. But
he only gets 184 yards, something like that.
Yeah, 84 yards, and this sounds ridiculous, but before they got worn out, and before the Browns blew a 13-point lead in 80 seconds, they were actually doing a good job of stopping the run. CJ Mosley was blowing up some plays, and specifically, if you try to run out the gun, they're going to stop you. And Bengals like to run out the gun often. CJ Mosley's really good at sniffing those kind of things out. Their coverage unit's pretty good. I mean, I was watching Derek Stingley, and I'm like, man, he was the wrong choice at the top of that draft. Sauce Gardner is him. He's good. And that's going to provide an interesting challenge. DJ Reed, really good too. They have some good corners. This is a good defense. I think we were disrespecting the Jets because they fans are talking with no proclamations of anything concrete, but I have to give their defense credit. They have a lot of talent on that defense, and that talent is coming to fruition. Quentin Williams is a guy, Sauce Gardner is a guy. I think they have some guys there that are pretty good. Quincy Williams, they have a linebacker named Quincy. I think he wears number 3. Dog.
It's his brother.
It's the brother. It's his brother. Yeah.
Quincy Williams. Okay. Quincy Williams is okay. Quincy Williams popped up on tape more than Quentin Williams, and Quentin Williams looked good. I was like, who is this? Who is number 3? Who is this dude with my name all over the field? They have good players there in New York. And if the Bengals defense the Bengals offense starts slow, and like my favorite Ace quote was from when Brandon Allen was the quarterback of the Bengals, and people were like, they started slow. He's like, no, bro, they didn't start. Like, they didn't start. And if they don't start fast, if they don't get points on the board and take this defense out the game, essentially, you're gonna allow Joe Flacco to hang around there. And they're not a good offense in New York, but they're good enough that if you let them hang around, Gary Wilson can make a play on you. Elijah Moore can make a play on you. They have good enough players there that, hey, if you want to let them keep getting bites at the apple, they're eventually going to get one at the core. So this is a game where the Bengals can't take lightly. And I don't think they will, because they know the realities of going 0-3. Your season could be over at 0-3, right? Especially against 3 teams that you are expecting to beat, and the schedule only gets tougher from here. So I expect the Bengals to come out, look like the Bengals, because if they don't, they're in trouble. The Jets aren't a terrible team. Now, I don't know if Joe Flacco is doing that again. You know what I mean? But
stays the starter if he is, right? It means see you, Wilson.
Yeah.
Flacco gets to stay.
It's funny how every other quarterback that starts in New York is better than the dude they drafted like 2 overall. But I
still believe it. I love Zach. Love Zach coming out. Hashtag still believe.
I mean, look, Joe Flacco is like 5 touchdown passes away from surpassing Zach Wilson's career total. So that is
imagine what it's gonna be like when Zach gets back out there. It might throw 10.
It's gonna be worse. It's gonna be so much worse. I'm sorry, Jets fans. We got to do this to you. Even though I have no room to talk. Y'all came back for 13 and 2 minutes on this. But yeah, that's the thing, right? If I'm the Bengals, I would be worried about that. The Jets match up well against you. The Jets do some things well against what you do well. And what the Bengals have done well, they haven't been doing well, right? Like, so that is a problem. If you're going to play short ball, close to the sticks, line of scrimmage football, that's going to be something that the Jets eat up. You got to play in that middle third of the field to deep third of the field. You can't be playing around this week. Like, this is the week to take shots. If you're going to take them, this is the week to say, hey, we have Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. Beat it, right? This is the week to do that. If you don't do it this week, I don't know when it's happening. And it might not happen soon enough. So back against the wall here for the Bengals. It got to happen this week. So I'm going to assume it does, because I can't imagine the Bengals are going to be, dig themselves this deep of a hole to start the season. Like, we all had our jokes about regression, but nobody thought 0-3 was a possibility for them.
By the way, guys, the poll is out there. Who wins, Bengals and Jets? Also, Anime Hero Super Chat. How many jokes you think Cleveland, the city, will get tomorrow? I see one mistake by the lake, a down.
What do you mean?
Unless they're like getting blown out. They're not. On the broadcast.
The jokes about the Browns are not going to be about the city of Cleveland at this point. It's going to be about the other situation they got looming in there. Like, that's going to be what people are going to decide to roast about them.
I think at this
I
point,
wonder if Amazon even. You wonder if they even.
Amazon's not going to put it on there. I'm talking about Twitter. Twitter. No. Now Amazon's going to do the whole "we have no history of winning" thing. LOL. That don't hurt me no more. I know we don't win a lot, so it's like.
Okay, Tony, what do you see in this game?
Okay, so the line on this game.
Line? I was going to say.
Yeah, that's right. We got to get the import. You guys did all this preview, and we don't even give any context anymore.
By the way, I love how the Jets went for this team that we refused to break down, and now we're like, now we actually got to.
Yeah, now we have to. All right, we got to take
Thank you, Browns.
I'll let you in on
got
a
to take it
secret.
serious.
I thought that the Jets surrounding cast was good, but I was just not sold on Zach Wilson. I'm like, if Zach Wilson is starting off, I don't think he's the guy.
Well, you guys are in for a rude awakening when he gets back, because I still believe. All right. The Bengals are favored. This is in New York, by the way. This is a road game for the Bengals. Bengals are favored in this one by 5. That is the line, Colonel. That's the first time the Bengals have been under a touchdown favorite in a game. Last week, I believe both games got to 7. Or no, last week was 7.5.
So it's saying that if it wasn't Cincy, it would have been -8. So it would have been more than
a touchdown. Yeah, but it's 5. But then last week they were 7.5 on the road. They were 7.5 point favorites on the road.
Niggas is like, hey man, I still believe because you was in the Super Bowl last year, but this shit looking shaky.
Yeah, it's looking a little. Yeah. Look, okay. So breaking down this game, I said it on Tuesday's show or on Monday's show. It is like it's absurd right now that when you look at some of these advanced numbers, that the Bengals offense, again, like Q said, the regression stuff, like that's gone now because they're by DVOA's numbers, the Bengals are the worst offense in the National Football League. It is absurd to think about how could that be the case, right? And I understand they haven't been efficient and whatnot, but like this is a totally different thing we're talking about. But then you guys kept talking about the Jets defense, and I agree with you guys. It's a really talented defense. Right? You think about Quinnen Williams and the linebacking core, and like we talked about Sauce and all that. You know who the worst defense in DVOA is through 2 weeks?
The Jets.
It's the Jets. It's the Jets. The Jets actually have the worst defense. And I think we'll all sit here today and just names on paper. I think, are we really that shocked that the Jets are going to be one of the bottom 5 or bottom 10 defenses in the league? I mean, they have a lot of talent, but it's all young, and how many of those guys are really proven commodities in this league right now? So if they end up finishing here as a top 10 defense.
Yeah, CJ Mosley and Williams, right? I like those two. Their pass rush against Baltimore was not that great.
I'd probably say Reed is probably one of their best players, right?
Yeah. And it's like, if John Franklin Myers got that big contract this offseason, like what? Carl Lawson doing stuff, So I think from my perspective, I think we all expect the Bengals offense is not going to end the league as the a bottom 5 offense. Right? There's just no way. This is a week where couple questions. One, are the Jets going to go to this like we're going to run the cover 2 a lot and we're going to do the same thing everyone else has been doing? The Jets aren't primarily they haven't primarily been a cover. You don't draft Sauce Gardner to run cover 2.
Run cover 2, right?
Yeah. I mean, I understand that's what Derek Stingley's being asked to do out in Houston, right? Lovey's having him be the flat defender in cover 2, which is why did you spend the 3rd overall pick to have him do that? But are you going to ask Sauce that? Are you going to trust him in one-on-ones? Because right now, if you're the Bengals offense, if you just see single high, if Burrow sees single high at all, right? I mean, it's just check Jamar. I'll see you 40 yards down the field, right? You got to just test it because it's been so hard for them to get big plays. But I think in this game for me, it's look, if they come out and they want to run cover 2, this is about the Bengals are gonna have success. I think they're gonna have answers this week, but it's about building muscle memory, right? All right. Here's what we have to do. We talked about this on Monday about how Burrow is like the first read comes off the first read, and then his eyes come down. It's like and you go and watch tape. There's been a lot of tape breakdown that's been done. I mean, Burrow had guys open. Right? I mean, there were guys open on these plays. I mean, there was the Hurst over the middle play is the one that everybody is showing you. But the problem for Burrow is he doesn't see him because his eyes come down. And so I think in this game, it's going to be about, can you keep Burrow clean, and can Burrow and this offense just kind of work on muscle memory? That's a bad defense. They're going to be facing better defenses, but just kind of building up. All right, when the look is X, we are going to Y. And it's about building that up this week. I think the Bengals are going to win this game. There's just no chance they don't. Flacco, can he do the same thing he's done? There's one matchup I'm interested in defensively. I'm interested to see if they continue to line up Garrett Wilson in the slot and that matchup against Mike Hilton. Because Wilson's such a shifty guy, but Hilton's such a just a true football player and a feisty guy. That'll be an interesting matchup. But Flacco gets rid of the ball quickly and all that. And, he knows where he wants to go with it, yada yada. But this Bengals defense has played relatively well, even if they haven't gotten pressure. That secondary has been pretty good. You like to see them do that early in the game, so they don't go down 14-0 early to Cooper Rush. But overall, they still played well. So I think the Bengals win this game. I would if I was going to bet on this game, which I won't because this the NFL.
Bengals? Come on, man!
I can't.
By a ton.
I'm just going to say this.
I'm not laying the points with the Bengals right now. I'm staying away from the Bengals until I see it. But if I was going to, I would lay the points and say Bengals win by 5.
You know who else has seen a whole bunch of cover 2 this season? Believe it or not, Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is the 5th highest quarterback in the league that's going against cover 2.
And he murdered cover 2 against the Browns last. He was like 6 or 7 for like 200 yards. Like it was like something ridiculous.
We need to watch Joe Flacco and how he dissects that cover 2, because I did not expect to see Joe Flacco on the list though. I was like Kyler Murray, okay, I could see that, and then I'm like Joe Flacco, what the hell?
Yeah. I mean, Bengals fans were going through. I saw Joe Goodberry just retweeting, just here's a cover, here's a play where Burrow beat cover 2. Just like trying to prove like he can do it. He can. I know he can do it.
He can run scissors. I swear to God.
Well, we got into a big debate over, because like when you watch I think it was Kurt Warner's breakdown, he's like showing Hayden Hurst running in the seam, and he's like the middle of the field is open the whole game. Well, we had another guy that's a Bengals guy that's a coach, and he's like, oh, seam is not open, or the middle of the field is not open in cover 2. So it was a big debate.
It's literally called middle field open.
Bro, that's what I was today years old when I found I was like, the seam is between the numbers when the tight end runs right up there. He's like, that's not a seam route. I'm like, yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. And in cover 2,
was his argument that the seam had to literally be on the seam? Like he was like, it has to be like on the hash.
Yes. Yeah, it has to be on the hash.
Because it would be called a hash route.
The seams are open, but yeah.
It's. I mean, like cover 2. I mean, like it's been around for a while. There are known cover 2 beaters.
Yeah, this is not a new
thing. They also have been running Tampa 2 too. So then that's the variation where that guy does try to go.
Where the linebacker does carry the
3
seam,
high
right?
with a linebacker. Yeah.
It's 2.5 basically, right? But with the same principles in line, right? You want to isolate one of the safeties and then try to make them make a decision.
Make a decision. Exactly.
Like that's all
which
you
person to go with. Exactly.
Or you can take advantage of the underneath stuff too, because if that linebacker is free and off, then you can run Mixon on like a little angle route or something.
Right.
And beating cover 2 is as simple as like you have three really good. You have T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Jamar Chase. You know what that sounds like to me? Trips left, like trips left, like overload one side. Yeah, high low. I'm just glad make a choice. Which one are you gonna choose? It's really, it should not be this
celebrating his injury. I'm just glad Drew Sample is not getting targets over T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd in the first half this week.
And what? Okay, so a couple of things. I would like to see the Bengals utilizing Hayden Hurst of the Titans, because Hayden Hurst is more close to the Sample.
He's like the 3rd leading guy in targets for us.
I know. What I'm saying is that the Drew Sample snaps should go to, because Hayden Hurst also not a bad blocker. So at least with Baltimore he wasn't. I don't know if he has regressed.
There was a Mixon play where he just like looked at a guy and ran past him, and then the guy tackled Mixon.
Fair enough. I think this game, to piggyback up a couple of things the guy said, the Jets, I don't think, although they had good players, their pass rushers have been anemic, in my opinion. Carl Lawson, he's always been a guy that is iffy for me. He has his moments. But even when he was in the Bengals, even though he has his moment, it wasn't like he's like Henderson, right? Henderson has first year was great with New Orleans. He was great as well. And then JJ on the other side, right? The draft pick that they had, is a rookie, right? And Jonah will be the guy, at least that the car was always on the right side against us, right? I don't know, against UQ. I don't know if you remember where Lawson was. Was he also on the right side? Do you remember?
Lawson, yeah, he's pretty much left side, right?
Yeah, he's
well, no, Franklin Myers. Yeah, Franklin Myers is on the right side. And yeah, that's how they.
The only reason I feel like he's on the left side because he used to go off on the only person that he would go off on the division was Alejandro Villanueva. He would just
abusing. Okay.
But by the way, I was about to make my pick for. I was about to pick my Survivor League pick, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll go Bengals over the Jets here. But then I remember last time I picked the Bengals over the Jets, it didn't end well for me. So now I'm hesitant to pull this trigger on it, right? And I'm gonna be real. The Bengals have wreaked havoc on our Survivor League, by the way. Like, I'm pretty sure we got like 10 people left. It's all because of the Bengals and the Browns losing last week. Like, that had to be it, right? Like that to clear them out. Nah, I'm staying away from the Bengals, dog. I'd rather bet on the Raiders or something like that against the Titans. Like, I don't know, dog.
Can't pick the Lions now. The Lions top offense in the league this
year. Scrappy.
So
like,
what I was gonna say here.
What o'clock Kirk Cousins though? Like I don't know. Like
you know who the new play is, Quincy?
What?
Whoever is playing the Indianapolis Colts, whoever is playing the Colts,
and it's the Chiefs. Easy.
Well. Okay.
I like
what
that.
I was gonna say is, in this game, what I'm expecting, similar to what Tony said, this is a game that I want to see Joe Burrow stand up strong in that pocket, right? Because he's not going against a Michael Parsons. He's not going to go against a TJ Watt. I actually believe their best rusher is Williams from the center side, right? From the interior. But even though I feel like that's the worst pressure a quarterback can get through the middle, but it's also the first pressure he can see. So hopefully he can throw it away so he doesn't have to worry about getting hit without seeing it. I feel like his biggest worry is I'm going to get pressure without seeing, and then that's when he first read, okay, where's the rusher coming to just annihilate me, right? But if the pressure's coming to the middle, he's going to get an incompletion, but at least he can see it. This is a game that, again, I'm hoping Joe Burrow stays strong in that pocket or rolls, whatever, but he's more assured of himself. And I think that is the key. If the pocket can be somewhat clean, I mean, the Jets have maybe a couple sacks. I know they didn't sack the Browns a lot. I think they sacked Lamar once. So it's not like they are being, world beaters on the pass rush side. The running game. Now, A said that they want to establish the running game. The Jets are a legit good team against the run. That's what CJ Mosley did great in Baltimore. He continues doing that. Last year, he was great against the run. This year, looks to be really good against the run. Williams, the linebacker, he can cover as well. He's not a stiff linebacker. He can cover. So the thing here is, although that Jets defense is good, in the secondary, I think there's opportunities there to gain yards, right? When Ravens played the Jets, that first half was non-existing. When the weather dried up a little bit, it could have been that they were rusty because they didn't play the preseason. But when the weather dried up, the Ravens were able to move the ball. That's when Lamar Jackson got all his yards. And as you guys have pointed out multiple times, the Ravens wide receiver are not as good. Obviously, not as good as the Bengals. The Bengals had 3 legit guys, 2 guys that are top in the league, right? And then Tyler Boyd, no slouch. He's a great receiver. And in my opinion, Haden Hurst a very explosive tight end. They need to utilize these guys. The Jets have 2 good corners, and after that personnel starts rumbling a little bit more. I think key is keep that pocket clean. The second, take what the defense gives you, as the guys are saying. If the Jets are basically gonna say, no, you're not gonna throw anything high, okay, I'm just gonna death by 1,000 cuts. 5 yards here, 6 yards here, 3, 4, whatever. I'm gonna keep moving the ball, right? Not abandoning the run, play action, but I think the run is gonna be hard against the Jets. And on the other side, I mean, I think the Bengals defense has been good. It's funny because the Jets are on the backup left tackle. Although the backup left tackle, Brown, I think it's his last name, they came from Seattle. He's not a bad player. They got him when Becton went out, but he's injured, so he hasn't been playing. This is a game that you would think Hendrickson also will try to get back and be the Hendrickson that he was there last year. But other than that, I mean, Wilson against us again. I know against the Browns, he had a couple opportunities there. Against the Ravens, although up to the last quarter, they were basically playing prevent defense. The Ravens were able to stop this passing attack for the Jets, and I think the Bengals can do it as well. So I actually think the Bengals win. But they actually, like, if I was betting this game, I would take the Bengals -5. I think the Bengals win by a touchdown. I think it's probably like 27-17, like if I was predicting a score. So not super high score because I haven't seen the Bengals yet doing it. But the Jets are not this power offense, so it's going to put a bunch of points either. But you cannot let them hang in, right? You need to – that's what the Cowboys did. They started fast, and then it took a while for the Bengals to start. And when they got there, I mean, at that point, if you're tied with the team in the NFL going to the end of the – anybody can win at that moment, right? You get on bounds, you got the right yardage, a penalty here. kick, field goal, done. So
it'll be interesting to see in this game if that offensive line starts to come together as well, because we know that they have talent. Obviously, Lyle has really struggled. The interior has probably been better. I mean, I guess they've been decent, although still they can't get the running game going though.
That's another thing though, Tony. It just was reported today. Lyle missed practice today with a back issue. That was the same back issue through training camp that kept him out for a while. So I am, hopefully I'm not seeing Isaiah Prince there Sunday. I would definitely be monitoring whether or not he returns to practice tomorrow.
That's another reason not to bet on this game until we know if he is good to go.
Okay, so fan vote here, Bengals 58%.
58?
59 now, but yeah.
That's what those are. You're getting close to Steeler numbers.
That's the lowest.
I think it's going to be a pretty close game, man. I mean, the Jets, like I said, when you look at the team, just even offensively, like you talk about the running back, we didn't even talk about Breece Hall, and I like Michael Carter as well. They've got some guys. It's just, can they put it together?
Yeah, I mean, DJ Reader's is a cheat code. Yep. He's a cheat code.
Yep.
I mean, he's a cheat code.
That's what's lost in
Nerf DJ Reader. NFL's got to release a new patch.
Level, but nobody's paying attention because we're 0-2.
Yeah, it's true. That play where he threw 2 Steelers around and then made the tackle on Najee. I mean, it's still one of the greatest plays I've seen. It's crazy.
So Ravens-Patriots. Let me start with Q because I just went for speaking. Q, what do you think about this game, Ravens-Patriots? That's your boy McCorkle there.
Yeah,
off a big
Mac
dub.
Jones. Mac Jones. He's Mac Jones. This should be light work for the Ravens. The Patriots aren't good. They're not a good team. They're okay defensively. I struggle to say even mediocre offensively. They're not good. Like Mac Jones, like the only thing that gives me some hope for them is like Mac Jones be almost good. And what I mean by that is like he be missing throws by a little bit, but I don't know. 4 years of hoping Baker Mayfield closed that gap and it never happening makes me not want to do that whole thing again, right? So I just don't know with Mac, right? Like he almost made some throws on Sunday, but he didn't. Like, he made the one throw to Nelson Aguilar, which was really nice, where the best corner in the AFC North got completely embarrassed, mossed.
Listen, if Nelson Aguilar is mossing dudes, you kind of just got to go. All right,
it is what it is.
Great job.
I mean? Yeah.
What are we gonna do?
Didn't know Nelson Aguilar could catch. Like, you know what I mean? So
much less mossy, dude.
It was like 6 or 7 too, right? Or did he catch every one? I think he caught every one.
They had a lot of crossers with him. Yeah, they kept running that crossing play with him. Him and Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers,
Yeah. So, I just don't think this is going to be a close game. I think the Ravens, I'm not predicting the booty beat down, but what I am saying is the Ravens probably win this one by a healthy double-digit margin. Now, they will be up by double digits, guaranteed, in this game. Will they maintain that lead? I don't know. But, they will be up by double digits, and I expect them to win this game by double digits. There's nothing the Patriots do that threatens the Ravens on either side of the ball.
Tony.
Really? Okay, you and I have very different reads on this game. Here, I am very worried for Baltimore. I literally am going to go from 48 hours ago saying Baltimore's back. This is going to be, they could be a 1 seed, right? And now I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this matchup. I'm like, boy, do I want to be a one-dimensional offense going up against a Bill Belichick defense right now? I don't think I do. I mean, I just watched it, and the Steelers are really a 0-dimensional offense when you think about it. But still, like the Patriots defense it's not bad. This is not a bad team. Especially in that second.
They're not flashy, right? They have never been flashy.
They're not. Look, this is not Stephon Gilmore, right? This is not Malcolm Butler anymore.
But even with Gilmore and all that, they were never flashy. They were just
Gilmore had like 20 interceptions.
They're like, I think, 4th right now in the league, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Oh, the Patriots as a
defense.
No, they're good. I'm just saying they're not a flashy defense.
No, they're not flashy. No.
Yeah. But okay, so they have Jalen Mills on the outside. They have Jonathan Jones on the outside. Devin McCourty. I mean, I know he's like 34, 35 or whatever.
He's still in the league.
Yeah,
the
still playing deep safety out there.
Yeah.
I like Kyle Duggar a lot, even if Duggar is, more of a like in the box type. They're going to be like, are the Ravens going to do the same stuff they did last week to Miami and they did in week 1 to the Jets, as far as like, we're just going to crush you down the field? By the way, the line on this game, Vegas agrees with me. What do you guys think the line for this game is?
Ravens -3 or -4?
Okay, it is. It's exactly -3.
Ravens -3.
Ravens -3.
It's a road game.
It's in New England,
and that place is all bugged.
That's right. They know your plays, and don't sign an All-Pro return man from there either, because that will not work out. That will not, even though he is the best return man in the league,
or a guy that doesn't fumble the ball.
Yeah. No, it's pretty crazy that he doesn't. Just doesn't fumble the football ever, but then he does. Yeah. I'll take the Ravens in this one. I just worry that anytime you're going up against a Bill Belichick defense and there's one thing you can't do. And now, he kind of can scheme around like, all right, I'm just going to take away the deep stuff. I still, though, Lamar can still run, right? And there's still that whole part of it. Go ahead, Q.
He's been terrible against Lamar.
That's what I was going to say.
No, they beat him last time. They beat him last time. I thought so, too. They beat him last time.
I remember 2019, it was bad.
Yeah.
That was
some game. Yeah.
They got, but why? But what happened? Okay, but what's the difference between the 2 years? In 2019, whatever that was, they could run through anybody, right? The Ravens' run offense was
that's true,
unreal.
Yeah. The offensive line was great.
Yeah.
It ain't been the same since then.
It's where you can't go home again, right? So I'll take the Ravens, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm not.
You're not betting this either. You're not betting this either.
If I was betting this,
don't tell me you're taking Pats, Tony.
In England, I would take Pat's money line if I was betting this game. I would do a little sprinkle. Not a lot.
Leo Sells, shout out to you, man. Thank you for the donation. Is Chase over so well, feeling like a munch of a slam dunk as last year?
Yes, it is, because Jamar Chase is going to be like a future Hall of Famer. The thing about the Chase and Sewell, a lot of people don't look at the kid that the Chargers got. Who's the kid that the Chargers got? The tackle?
Slater.
Slater is the guy. If you were going to die on a hill, it's the Slater.
Sean Slater for the Chargers.
Slater was like an all-pro. Like, Slater is killing Sewell.
Y'all didn't like his arm length.
Share something that someone sent me on Twitter.
Y'all didn't like his arm length.
I thought it was. Have you guys seen this? Someone sent me this. Remember the old? It's a take on the old, but it's like Burrow. Anybody would block good, and then it's Lyall, and I just thought that was cute.
Electric Tyrone here says I'm late, but the y'all are wrong about the Ravens being all right. It's Bengals who'll be all right. Ravens O-line is garbage, and Lamar is hurt.
Oh yeah, Lamar had that thing on his arm today, and he didn't throw a pass.
The O-line being garbage.
He didn't
the Ravens O-line being garbage.
Look,
I mean, here's the truth though. Is the Ravens O-line good? No, it's not good. But they're getting back Ronnie Stanley at some point, so there's hope that it could get better.
Okay.
The Bengals are trotting out what they paid for in free agency right now, and it's historically bad. Like, this is a historical clip of sacks right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like it would take
the Ravens
take a great adjustment
out there.
Yeah, and it would take a great adjustment in trends and stats for them to just be as okay as they were last year. Like, that would be a leap from what they've done these last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The Ravens offensive line isn't good right now,
but they're playing good enough.
I mean, 0 sacks allowed and 0 quarterback hits. It's hard to kind of argue with those numbers.
Yeah, but they can't run the ball. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about Lamar. Yeah. I mean, Lamar taking hits or whatnot. I'm not worried about
that. He can't run the ball. Last year. Like, that's what we were talking about. Is
true.
Like, he took so many hits last year.
I agree with that. Line. The other thing that Lamar's doing hell of a better this year, he's stepping up in the pocket.
Yeah,
pocket presence is insane this year.
Yeah.
Versus other years. Like if you say, Sonny, what is Lamar doing better than other years? Pocket presence. Like, you can.
Do you think he only did that last week though because he was really trying to impress?
No, he did it against the Jets.
No, he's trolling. He's trolling.
Yeah, and I know he's trolling, but he did it against the Jets as well. Okay, let me. Oh no,
he's like, you can invest 10 years into it, Steven. You know what I mean? Like, this is.
I don't even get hit.
Yeah, I don't even need to get hit. I don't need to do all the run. I can do it, but I don't need to do it.
Yeah.
Is this going to be the Matt Judon revenge game? Is this the first time he's
that's right.
I think Matt Judon is the only person that I can kind of see on that Pats defensive line possibly wreaking some havoc. But I just talked about the Ravens so far this season: 0 sacks allowed, 0 QB hits. I think that trend somewhat continues. I do feel what Tony is saying, like that Patriots defense is really good right now to start the season. You talk about 4th in total defense, 8th in scoring. They're only allowing 17 points per game. They also have, I feel like from an offensive standpoint, the running backs, right? They averaged 4.7 plus yards per carry last week against Pittsburgh. The Ravens surprisingly gave up 4.8 last week to Miami. So is that something that they try to do to try to keep this game a little bit close? I think if you're the Patriots, that's probably the recipe, because this Ravens offense is just explosive. You're talking about 4th in the NFL with 31 points per game. You're talking about Patriots offense that scores 12 points per game. 12 points per game. The only team that scores less, the Indianapolis Colts, 10 points per game. I don't know how the Indianapolis Colts are not 32nd in DVOA. I'm not sure how that is impossible. But you know, the Pats, they didn't allow 0 sacks. They didn't allow any sacks last week to the Steelers. Nelson Aguilar, is he a guy that can take advantage? I'm not so sure. Like the Ravens, we talked about them being the best secondary in the division, right? Then last week, I didn't notice this until someone pointed it out. Almost every member of their secondary last week gave up a touchdown, right? And right now, you look at the last defense, if you're just going by yards, obviously since Tua went crazy, it's the Ravens right now, right? I don't think that that's the Ravens defense. But if we see this against the New England Patriots with guys like Nelson Aguilar, Jacoby Meyer, like those guys shouldn't beat you this week. You know, Jalen Waddle's acceptable, Tyreek Hill. Now, if there is more of an issue, then I'll believe more into it. But I got the Ravens in this one, bro. Mark Andrews leading the way, doing his thing. The only thing that the Ravens have actually even been bad on offensively is just third downs and extended drives. They got to get better from that aspect. But I think they just scored too many points for Bill Belichick and Mac Jones and these guys to actually keep up with them. And, you know, this is an offensive league. Even though I do love a good defensive fight, offense still is what you have to do to win the game. I think the Ravens just have too much for them. And like Q said, I think we talked about 2019, right? That's when the Ravens were able to pretty much kill Bill Belichick. Now, the offense hasn't been the same, but they've still gone back to more of that 12. They've gone back to 2019. So how is Bill Belichick going to be able to stop this offense? We saw Lamar do some things. We saw Josh Allen do some things. Bill Belichick, to me, has to prove that he can stop a quarterback that can run on the ground. Lamar Jackson's on a mission right now. I don't think that this one is going to be close. I'm surprised that it's Ravens by 3. I think that this is at least Ravens by at least a score. I have zero faith that this Patriots offense can score points like that.
No,
all right, switch my pick. I got the right. Switch. Ravens win this game. Yeah. What am I doing? Mac Jones might throw like 300. I mean,
I was say that's a bold choice. But you think the Ravens defense gonna be so good? They go
no, bounce back. Ravens defensive performance. I don't care that they're only one dimensional on offense.
And then if like the one guy that you talked about, Tony, that I like too, Duggar, if he's not in because he's got an injury, that's going to be problems because Jalen Mills was not good against.
I don't agree with that PFF grade. I know the PFF grade for Pittsburgh said he was a 29. He got eaten up by Deontay, but I don't disagree that he was that bad.
Let's be honest. PFF has Mitch Trubisky last week and
Lamar. They were within 3 points of each other. Anyone who watched those games could see that Lamar and Trubisky basically had the same game last week.
Well, that's crazy. But here's also to the point about the Ravens being one-dimensional. Yeah, but their one dimension is two-dimensional. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's with Lamar Jackson, it's like...
you guys don't need to rub it in. I switched my pick already. Yeah. I switched my pick.
It's like, can the Ravens not run the ball? Sure. Can Lamar Jackson run the ball? Now. Absolutely.
Is JK back this week?
I think he will. I'll talk about that.
JK's back. I'm not counting out the run.
JK's not back this week.
I think he is. But anyway,
if it's still Mike Davis, then nah, we can't.
Noah's still here.
It ain't gonna matter. You know who gonna lead them in rushing? Why we acting like we don't know who gonna lead them in rushing? Like it ain't gonna be 8. Like
that is true. That is true.
He done led them in rushing for the last 2 years and in attempts.
My guys, find yourself somebody that loves you like Noah Stone loves Tom Brady. Ravens gonna prove that Bill is nothing without Tom Brady. And there was another super chat here. Okay. Ground Zero says, my last question didn't get read. What? Also, the first person to pick 6. Yeah. Watson does the baby yoga pose as a TD celebration. Okay. This is what I have from the Ravens.
Oh, his last. Okay, I see it. I'm glad you skipped this one. Actually, it got skipped on purpose. Ground Zero.
What was it? Is it a super chat?
It says, Tony, have you asked Q how he coped with having Trent Richardson since you have Najee?
Wow.
Wow.
I can't.
Trent Richardson. Look, people make them Trent
last
Richardson.
time. Yeah, show me the game where Trent Richardson went for $150 on the Steelers, because I'm pretty sure that didn't happen. But Najee went.
Trent Richardson had like a 200-yard game against the Bengals. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Trent looked good in Cleveland. It wasn't until he went to Indy until everybody realized he was trash, and we got our first round pick back. We just used it on Johnny Manziel. That's the only thing that went wrong in that equation.
Also, wait till you guys see
the Bengals had to get that back. We had to get the money man back.
Yeah. We could have got Derek Carr, but we went with Johnny Manziel. That's what we did. Shout out to
Tony in Q&A's. One of the reasons I don't think this running game has been good, obviously. But one of the reasons why this passing game has been so explosive and the running game has been so anemic is defense are loading the box like it's 2019 Ravens, right? Because we're going back to that personnel. So I get what they're doing, but what that is doing is leaving room for the passing. And the receivers have been good. The receivers have been catching the ball. They've been good. Duvernay is in concussion protocol, but Harbaugh said today that he thinks he's going to play. He has no symptoms. And the ability of Lamar stepping up in that pocket, and as the tackle, especially the left tackle, is a guy that used to play center for us and guard. He's been doing it all for this whole line. And what they've been doing is putting a guy there chipping, but as he gets beat sometimes from the outside, right? Lamar steps in, so he doesn't feel the rush as much. Quinn Williams got to Lamar a couple of times in beating Linderbaum in that game against the Jets, but that wasn't the case with Miami, right? Linderbaum had a strong game. The left side is definitely the weakest point of this line, both left guard and left tackle. Stanley will not be back in this game, I'm pretty sure. He's practicing. He's been full practicing. I'm expecting him either next game against Buffalo or the following game. I think JK has been close for 2 weeks. It feels like he wants to play so bad. I think Harbaugh or the medical person, it's been basically saying, no, let's give him another week. I think this is the game. I think Harbaugh also by now he's tired of Mike Davis. I'm tired of Mike Davis. And he puts JK there.
You should be tired of the other 2 running backs more than Mike Davis. Like, Mike's not good, but like Kenyon Drake and what was the dude's name? He got that one run.
Yeah,
Justice Hill.
Dax Hill's brother.
Yeah, they have the exact opposite problem where Justice only reads leverage, it doesn't read field. And then Kenyon Drake, he just read field, but he don't be understanding what leverage is. So he just be cutting up, just be ruining blocks that they set up for him. That's a mess. I don't know how Mike Davis still in the league.
Remember when Kenyon Drake was like, everybody was like, "Oh, Kenyon Drake is nice," and then he's been on like 3 teams since then.
Hey man, it's fast for a running back.
Yeah, it is.
I come at you fast.
Obviously, JK is needed. Look, I feel like this defense should be really good against the Patriots. They definitely have some communication problems that they need to fix. I think I alluded to this last week that they're moving more towards the zone defense. They do man still, but it used to be, Wink used to be less man and blitz.
Yeah.
They're blitzing not as much, but they're definitely going more zone. Hence why you see more picks for the Ravens now. I think McCorkle or Mac Jones gets his pick. I think this offense is gonna come on strong. Judon's a great player, obviously. Morgan Moses has been pretty good in the right tackle position. That's usually where Judon likes to rush. But other than Judon, meh. On the offensive side, look, Ace alluded, they don't have a Tyreek Hill or Waddle. If anything, they don't even have what the Jets had, right? With Wilson, Corey Davis, and more.
It's all fun and games till Nelson Aguilar just randomly mosses one of your corners in the end zone.
What they have more is their tight ends, right? With Henry
was one of them, like over the face mask, like he was, like it was nasty. Like I don't like to use the term mossing because sometimes we just mean that to catch over somebody, but that was one of them. Like the ball was right here. It was a bad throw. He just
let me say this interception.
Plucked it.
The one thing
you guys scored on him.
You guys were asking about injuries.
Marcus Williams is going to have like 6 interceptions after this game.
I was on my treadmill watching that game and I screamed. It was like 3:00 in the morning. Like I almost got in trouble with my apartment complex. I was like, "Oh, Nelson, don't do it to him." On the best corner in the AFC North too. Killer Witherspoon, was that?
So I was gonna say I don't think Marlowe will play this game. Humphrey. He got pulled last week. I told you it was a game time decision. He got pulled, and he hasn't practiced. He has a groin, so I think they probably will try to win this game without Marlon Humphrey. Stevens will be back, and then all the other rookies are back. Right, Williams. You guys thought it was Marcus, but it's Pepe Williams. And Armour Davis.
Yeah.
So they have the depth, and the New England, in my opinion, doesn't have the firepower to exploit as much as Miami did. So even without Marlowe, I think we should be fine. I have the Ravens winning this game. I have them covering. I think the Ravens win by 10. I think the Ravens will not take any points lightly, as obviously they got embarrassed. So if for some reason they open this game up, look for John Harbaugh to say, you know what, we're gonna embarrass these guys. But also on the other side, it's Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, I don't know. I don't care what Noah Stone says. Still a great coach. I don't take him for granted. I think he is a great defensive mind coach. It's the offense. I think our defense is gonna be great against this offense, and I think our offense will be good against this defense. So I think the Ravens win by 10.
How sure are you that Marlon Humphrey's not playing in this game? Like is it like 100% he's not playing, or is there?
This is no completely inside source. Somebody, I have a person that said no. Last week they were thinking about sitting him down, right, and not playing because he wasn't good. Now when he played, he was playing well. I think they're gonna try to rest him for a week, and the following week is Buffalo.
Switch me back. Patriots win this game. I don't trust that secondary.
Switch me back.
Patriots.
Isn't Jacoby Myers?
I need all the information. I need all the information I can get.
Isn't Jacoby Myers battling an injury of his own too? He's a game time decision too.
Oh, that's true. He is.
No more switching. No more. You pick the Patriots. You pick the Patriots. That's it. It's over with. You use your switches. You get 2 challenges in the game. You get 2.
Nah, you believe in Aguilar. No. That was my guy back then. I wanted the Bengals to take him.
You used both your challenges in the first half, sir. You didn't win both of them. Okay.
So three of us for the Ravens, 1 for the Patriots.
Kendrick Bourne time. Let's go, big Kendrick Bourne guy.
The face of a man who realized
Devontae Parker. Let's do it.
Devontae
Parker. Big game.
That's right.
Here's where the fan base is. Ravens 78%.
Ravens? Parker, baby AJ Green game incoming.
Now, did they know before when they pressed that button that Marlon Humphrey wasn't going to play though? Did they know that?
Well, I mean,
you should have led with that. You probably should have led with that before you put the poll out.
He didn't
but yeah, I think without Marlowe, I think the Ravens win this game by 10.
Yeah.
If Marlon Humphrey, and to be honest, I need Marlon Humphrey to be healthy for the rest of the season. This is not a season injury; it's more of a nagging injury that he has right now. Anyway, Go ahead.
I just want on record that no matter what happens in this game, I wasn't wrong. So I just want to throw that one out there.
Marquee matchup, and I'm gonna go here. Steelers, Browns, Thursday night. The bright lights under the night sky. I'm gonna start with Q because I know Q has
Amazon only.
Amazon only.
This is one. If you don't have Prime, you need to pay for Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Immediately to see this one. I mean, you are going to
miss
miss out
free
on
trial on this one.
No, don't even need. You got to pay for the whole year just for this one.
Pay for the whole year.
It's worth it. This is what's Amazon Prime go for these days? $100. Worth every penny just for this game.
Yeah, Amazon Prime, one of them things you have to pay like rent because it's just like I guess I'm gonna have it, right? Like it's like, but yeah. I mean, this is I joked and called this the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. And this, what I mean by that is a Steelers offense that is anemic at scoring versus a Browns defense that is anemic at letting people, making mistakes that don't allow people to score. What's going to happen, right? When the team that can't score goes against the defense that can't not let you score, right? Like what happens here? Does it break? Does something get fixed in the matrix? I don't know. Look, this is a situation where I anticipate the Browns going to have to play like heavy cover 2 and 3, like because of how the Steelers attack. They're going to have to be in zone. So that means they're going to have to figure some of this stuff out. The Browns should win this game. I think the Browns are a better team than the Pittsburgh Steelers. They absolutely should win this game. Right, offensively is the weakness in this game, but I think they have the strengths when it comes to outside zone running against the Steelers defense. And Jacoby Brissett has not been bad. He's not been great, but he's not been bad. Right, I think you could look over the other side of the ball and say the Steelers have been bad on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they've been pretty good. Minkah Fitzpatrick has been Minkah Fitzpatrick again, but TJ Watt ain't out there, right, and that makes a big difference with how the Browns attack. So again, they should win. Do I trust them? No, I don't trust them right now, but they should. If they lose this game, it's because they did something stupid again on defense. Like this is what it's going to boil down to. Can you limit the mistakes? And then on the other side of the ball, can you take advantage of the mistakes? Will you even be looking for the busted coverage, or will you just throw the screen to Najee or throw the mesh route to Chase Claypool because you're just trying to get 3 yards instead of seeing what's out there, right? That's the big question. Browns should win this game. This should not, I don't want to say should not be a close game, but it should not be a game in which it doesn't feel like the Browns are in control of for the bulk of it. They should win this game. They should be in control, but they should have beat the Jets. They should have beat the Panthers by double digits, but they did it. So I'm gonna go
Thursday at home, right?
Thursday at home. There's no reason to lose this game, other than being dumb. There's no reason. Like if Pittsburgh comes out and just has like a better effort than you and plays better than you and executes at a higher level than you, and that's why you lose, I would be like shocked. And I'm not saying Pittsburgh's that bad of a team, but their strengths don't really line up with our weaknesses like that. Like it would be hard too. Now, again, Pittsburgh's done this before. This is why I don't have great confidence in this pick, but I'm gonna go with the Browns here because they should win this game unless they do dumb stuff, but they've been doing dumb stuff for 2 weeks, right? Like, and so also, I can't have,
I was gonna say, and also this game is for the division lead, right? Whoever wins.
I mean, it's week 3. It's week 3. I don't care if we got the lead in.
It matters. Oh no.
You know, Q, for you might not matter, but
I just want to win this game because there's only so many we can win with our quarterback situation until that improves, right? Like that's more important to me. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, we can be ahead in the division. Cool. It's a division game. You want to win those? Yes, it's an AFC game. You want to win those, like last week. But I mean, like losing here would dig a hole for you that's going to be pretty hard to dig out of, right? Because now you're talking about having to beat 2 teams that you're not expecting to beat. And that would include the Bengals, maybe the Patriots or somebody you could throw in there. Like right now you could probably get that win. But now you have to throw in the Bengals. You talking about trying to beat the Chargers or the Bucks or no, you got to get this win. They have to get it together. I would be very concerned if they don't get it together enough defensively to win this game. I would be very, very concerned about the future of this football team.
Yeah. before Tony goes here, I guess why I brought that up is because if the Steelers win, they're 2-0 already in the AFC North.
Oh my
Yeah, we're in the
God! You're
division.
gonna have one
Oh,
of
if
them
we win
years
this
where they
game, we're in
can
the
win
division.
9
We can
games
wrap
and
it
win the
up.
division.
Wrap it up, folks. It's over. Mitch
Wrap
takes
it
the
up.
division down.
Oh wait! The Steelers are 1 win away from having more division wins this year in Week 3
And
than the Ravens had all last year.
Yeah.
I got a question for Steeler
Yeah.
fans. I got a question for because you put the poll out, right? And it's like who's going to win this game. But I have a
70-30
different poll.
right now.
For who?
Browns. 70-30.
Not shocking. Like I said, it's always 70% against the Steelers. So that's where we
It's
start.
Pittsburgh versus everybody now.
Oh, have you watched this show before? All right. I have a question just for Steeler fans. I have a question just for us fans. What if I told you that the Steelers can get embarrassed in this football game, but I would also guarantee you that it will be the last time you ever have to watch Mitch Trubisky in a Steeler uniform? Would you take that? Would you take that? Like, is there a part of you, Steeler fans, that's like, yeah, I kind of hope.
A lot of rookie quarterbacks debut on Thursday Night Football.
There was one that did. There was one that did on Thursday. Yeah, there was one that did on Thursday like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, it changed the game. The Browns were down like 17-3 at that point. Yeah. He brought them back.
Yeah, I mean, the whole, is this Mitch's last start? For me, it seems too early. Just from a 10,000 foot. This is the same analysis I would have about the Bengals, by the way, and why they're going to win that game. 10,000 foot view, right? Big picture scenario. Forget about the matchup and all of that. Like, is Mike Tomlin's post-Ben era where he signs Mitch Trubisky, sets up a competition that isn't really a competition, never gives another guy shots with the ones, right? And then after 3 or 2, essentially it'll be 2.5 weeks, he just goes, timeout. I'm changing quarterbacks that early. Like, does that seem like a Mike Tomlin thing to do? It just doesn't. That's why I think, even though this is the right opportunity, right? You get 10 games after this one. If you're going to sit Mitch, this would be the one.
Yeah.
So I do wonder for this, the storyline, a couple of storylines for me in this one. One, Mitch Trubisky, and what is his mindset going in? Does he feel like if I keep playing safe like this, if I keep, Mr. Check Down Charlie attitude out there, am I going to lose my job that way? Because if he actually starts to take some chances down the football field, I will be happy no matter what happens. If he goes out there, I said this on my show the other day, I would much rather the Steelers lose because Mitch Trubisky is out there just slanging it and he throws, 3 or 4 interceptions, right? Someone in my chat said the Jameis Winston style, right? 30 for 30. If Mitch Trubisky goes out there 30 for 30 style, cool. I'd rather they do that than never take a chance. Oh, no. We're never going to take a chance. Oh, we got to throw a ball into tight coverage. Right? I mean, the tight coverage that we're throwing into right now, that Mitch is throwing into right now, is like man-to-man, he crosses his face and fire it in there, right? But when it comes to like zone reads and trying to fit a ball between like a linebacker and a safety, right, or those kind of high-low concepts, I mean, Mitch is never going to do that stuff. So you wonder if he's feeling the pressure, from the media, feeling the pressure from inside. George Pickens said the other day, and I can't believe this actually became news. George Pickens said the other day, like, I'm open like 90% of the time. We're all getting to our spots. We're open all the time. It's like, why is that news? Have you ever met a wide receiver who's like, no, I'm covered all the time. I'm always covered. I'm never open. I'm not open. Like, of course they're going to say that. So I wonder if how much of that gets to him and how much he actually starts to take some chances in this game. Because like you said, look, if they start taking chances in this game, that Browns, the back end of that Browns defense certainly can be had. I'm not going to go into this game thinking that. So, and the other part of this game, sadly for Steeler fans, is the Steelers have their defense has essentially played 2.5 to 3 games from a snap count basis. And they're playing on a short week against a team that wants to do what offensively? They want to pound you, right? Physical football. This is not the Bengals and the way that they want to attack you in the running game. They're not going to spread you out in 11 and try to run on you that way, right? They're coming out in a very particular way. We're going to run 12 personnel, which means one running back and 2 tight ends. We're going to pound you and pound you and pound you and get ourselves in a third and advantageous and win on that down and continue long drive, right? And so the thing for the Steelers in this game is if this offense no shows again, if they go out there again and it's just the same check down Charlie, right? We can't score. We can't move the ball. We can't score, and we're going to rely on our defense, go put turnovers and get big stops and yada yada. That may go on for a quarter. That may go on for a half. But at some point in this game, that defense is going to break down from a conditioning standpoint. We already saw it happen in that 6-minute drill last week. Patriots got the ball with 6 minutes to go, and the Steelers never touched the ball again. They just ran out the clock. That will happen at the end of this football game unless this offense can put up some kind of fight, unless this offense can get early points or at least long drives to start this one to keep that Steeler defense off the field. I'm going to go this way with this game. I think the Steelers are going to lose this football game, but I'm going to pick them against the spread because the line on this game is 4.5. Browns by 4.5 at home. And I just have a policy on the Steelers all year this year. The Steelers are going to lose a lot of close games, but those games are going to be by 3, maybe 4 points. Anything over that, give me my Steelers. We will be losing a lot of one-score games, but if you're going to make it over a field goal and especially over 4, I'll take the Steelers. So I'll take the Browns to win, but Steelers to cover.
Okay. Ace.
What if Jacoby Brissett has one of them Joe Flacco games where he
gets man. Speaking of Jacoby, you know what? I think this was me after I looked at the Browns stats this year. First, I was laughing a little bit. And then I looked and I was like, God damn, because you know what? Yes, it was the 7th highest scoring offense in the NFL with Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Browns are averaging 28 points per game without Deshaun Watson. So we can sit here and laugh about, the Jets game and all of that. What they're doing from an offensive scoring standpoint is extremely impressive. That's why I really have them in this game. They're putting up points in bunches. The Steelers, this is the thing. We talked about Kenny Pickett being Andy Dalton, right? Mitch Trubisky is Andy Dalton. At this point, I feel like they need to put Kenny Pickett in. Now, like Tony is saying, is Tomlin going to do that? Probably not. But 168 yards, a touchdown, and an interception, it's just not acceptable, in my opinion. That's not going to help you win ball games, especially against a team like Cleveland that's going to put up points. In my opinion, I think, like Tony said, this probably would be the game where I would just try to throw a curveball and throw Kenny Pickett out there because you have the lack of preparation for Cleveland expecting it. But the other thing that I look at in this game is, the Denzel Ward thing last week, rough week for him. Deontay Johnson, 10 targets last week. How is that matchup going to go in this game, right? Because that's who Pittsburgh really has relied on. I do think, however, JOK kind of favors them in the Freiermuth one because right after him, it's Freiermuth. I think I like JOK in that one to match up pretty well with him. You talk about Najee, the sub 4 yards per carry. The interesting thing is Cleveland last week to Breece Hall gave up 7.1 yards per carry. The only thing, though, is that it was really on 2 big runs. It was just 2 long runs that really inflated that number. If Najee cannot get it popping against this Cleveland team that has shown that they can have some cracks in it from a run defense standpoint, I just don't know what they're going to do. They're going to have to keep using him in the passing game like they've been doing, with him getting, I think, 6 or 7 targets last week. They're going to have to go to that. But the issue for me is just the Browns are just better offensively. I mean, they're going to wear down on you, like Tony said, with the run. You got Chubb and Kareem Hunt. You're going to get a heavy dose of that. And if you can't stop it, that's going to be an issue. You know what the issue is, though? Last week against the Patriots, they couldn't stop those 2 running backs. They ran for 4.7 plus yards per carry, and that's not Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt. So that's one of the things that has me worried. The other thing that I kind of talked about before last game, TJ Watt, I mean, I have no problem, even as a Bengals fan, saying that guy's probably top 5, top 10 player in the league. When you take that guy off of that defense, it's definitely going to be a factor. 0 sacks. I don't see that happening again this week, but I just don't know if we're ever going to see that TJ Watt guy that can wreck a game with this Steelers defense now. Quincy, you said you wanted to say something?
Oh, Jack Conklin is expected to play in this game.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah, everybody's
Jack Conklin.
Both teams are healthy.
Man. So the other thing for the Steelers, some people kind of said that the corners didn't play well last week. In a low-scoring game, hard to really kind of say. But the one thing that we saw last week, that's another thing with this meme. I'm going to put the meme up again. Put the meme up again, Sonny. Let me get that GIF back again. Amari Cooper. Yeah, we can laugh about the whole onside kick blooper, but this guy put in work last week. That is a guy that's going to cause some issues for people. And we kind of talked about, Cleveland is just a running team. Amari Cooper is showing that they can be both, especially when you see Deshaun Watson come back. The interesting thing that I thought, and maybe this just adds to the fact that strength of schedule just really doesn't mean anything. The ironic thing is that the Browns have faced the 32nd ranked strength of schedule, which is kind of stupid because it's based off of last year. Yeah. The Steelers, however, have faced the 14th. I was not aware of that. I did not know it was like that. But honestly,
AFC champs, maybe 2 playoff teams.
Going off of last year, it doesn't really matter. But for me, I just think that the Browns are going to put up too many points at home. And unless they take Mitch Trubisky out of this game and put in Kenny Pickett, I just don't see it being one that the Steelers can get into. And maybe this is the game, like Tony possibly alluded to. Maybe this is the one where they finally decide, hey, maybe we should throw Kenny Pickett in there.
Or can I throw an alternate theory out there? Because this keeps getting said among Steeler Nation. And every time they say it, I love it even more. Put Mason in first.
That's what I was going to say.
Skip Kenny, go to Mason because Mason's a vet.
I would love it.
That would be troll. I would feel trolled if I was a Steelers fan.
I would love it. Go ahead, Q.
One thing that's interesting with like the Browns and like the fact that they're so high in efficiency is incredibly that tells you Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt have been unreal so far this year.
Everything they do
because like running the ball, it's hard to be high up in efficiency. They are running the Browns passing attempts, right? When they throw a ball, I think it's 5.5 yards that they get on average per passing attempt. Their rushing attempt number is like 5.2. It's just as effective for them to run the ball as throwing it. That's some 1970s NFL stuff right there when you're having that much success running the ball. Now, again, that's not going to continue the whole year, even though Nick Chubb is a consistent 5+ yard per carry.
Dudes, I mean, listen, the Steelers are holding them to 2 yards a carry this week. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, we've had it where Nick Chubb's at 7 yards a carry and Steelers come in and he gets 2 for the game or whatever. It's just weird stuff happens against Pittsburgh all the time. I'm always
Minka run defender. Remember, Minka became an elite run defender last year. Just keep that.
Just weird stuff. Weird stuff always happens against
Pittsburgh. Yeah, Minka's gonna have to go super, which he's already Super Saiyan. He's gonna have to go Super Saiyan God. Ultra instinct.
Miles, this is a Miles Jack game though. This is a Miles Jack game.
I'm interested to see what Miles Jack and when David Njoku and Miles Jack. Who wins that battle, right? Because David's going to pull over, and that's where Miles is going to be on the outside. Who's going to win that battle?
No. Miles is going to keep clean. No, Miles, it's going to be Nick Chubb versus Miles. And who?
Yeah, that's what
it's outside zone.
Oh, you think he's going to?
Which gap are you picking? And I'm going the other way. Yeah.
What do you think, Quincy, with no Clowney this week? Does that, because I know he's an elite run defender as well as being able to get to the quarterback. Do you think that that's going to play a factor in the run defense, or?
It's a concern. It is. Alex Wright's been okay, and he's a lengthy guy, so you would think he's pretty decent in these run fits, but it's definitely a concern, right? If the Browns lose this game, and it's not because they were just being abysmal defensively when it comes to the dumb stuff, then it's because they couldn't contain the outside edge, because Miles is a good run defender. He's not a great run defender, right? He's not one that you purposely avoid. And then, Alex Wright, he's Alex Wright. He's a rookie. So we don't know much about him. Clowney really makes things move towards the direction where you have to run towards Miles because you really don't want to do it towards Jadeveon. And Jadeveon's been that the last 2 weeks. So that's been a huge part of the Browns' ability to stop. But I do think this linebacking core for the Cleveland Browns has been playing extremely well. Anthony Walker, JOK, and Tony's boy, Sione Takitaki. I mean, they've been really good out there. And I think that would make up for the loss that they're going to have in Jadeveon. They're going to just be able to use those linebackers more often. Maybe they stay in base. I don't know if they stay in base too long, but maybe they stay in base more often because of the lack of Clowney in there. But I think they have the tools to make up for that in the run game.
But then Matt Canada might not even run it. 36% of the time, he might not even try to run it.
Well, the Steelers have run a lot of outside zone. That they've really become an outside zone team. And to Canada's credit, one of the things I liked about the All-22 tape, because there wasn't a whole lot to like, but one of the things I did like is the amount of variation he ran off of it. So one thing he did well. And by the way, I just want to say one thing, because someone in chat reminded me. Jalen Warren is the best running back in this football game, and you guys will find that out tomorrow.
Okay.
We know the key to
Super Chef for Noah Stone here. Miles gonna have to fight to make it interesting. And
Tony is like, I would believe Tony like loves Terrell Davis. Like that's got to be his guy. Like one cut downhill guy.
I'm surprised that Tony
It's
isn't saying the matchup of the game is Chooks versus Myles Garrett.
No,
Miles is going to line up. Yes, Dan Moore. Yeah, Dan Moore.
Oh,
he lines up on the other side. Yeah.
They tried to claim that Dan Moore shut him down last time. We're gonna see.
Chooks can basically Dan Moore. Listen, Dan Moore shut him down twice last year. How many sacks Myles Garrett have in this entire series? One. Trash. Browns fans want you to actually believe that Myles Garrett is anywhere near PJ's level, and a rookie 4th-round pick, Dan Moore, shut his ass down. I mean, my goodness, they should have given Myles Garrett the 0 in both games for those performances last year. Trash player.
Okay, let me say this. I as Q was saying, I'm having a hard time seeing how the Browns lose. Although last week I bet I put him in my survival pick and they let me down. But Q has to go. Take it easy.
He couldn't take that. That was too much truth for.
But I see the Steelers winning one of two ways.
Kenny.
You got the Steelers.
No. I have the Browns. But there's two ways the Steelers can win. Either they figure out how to shut the running game, shut it down basically 100 yards between the two of them. If they can do that, they have a possibility of winning. They win the turnover battle, right? Because different from the Bengals, the Browns, I know we're talking about them as a good offense. I think it's a good offense if they have the running game playing to part. If the Steelers somehow can figure out how to slow down this running attack, I think the Steelers can win this game. And Tony alluded to the guy that I was going to bring out, Myles Jack.
Yeah.
Can Myles Jack be that guy that as soon as he sees the hole open up, goes and brings either Shupp or Hunt down, right?
Yeah.
He is key because Devin Bush is, we don't want to rehatch Devin Bush here, but Myles Jack will be the key of this game. If Myles Jack can basically have a super game that he can basically control that line of scrimmage as the hole's opening and he plugs that lane, he plugs the opening for the Browns. He doesn't over pursue. Then the Steelers have a shot because the Browns, they've just been running so efficiently as Q alluded to that allows to have easy completion. I used to say this at 2019, the Ravens, because Lamar is not the passer that he is now. But we were able to run so efficiently that the passing that he needed to complete was just easier passes. And that's where Jacoby is living right now. I'm not saying he cannot throw it. I'm just saying everything becomes easier when you can run it so well. If the Steelers can essentially say, you know what, we're going to dare you to throw. We're going to dare you to throw. Maybe put Minka there. I know this is almost forbidden here, but single high, patrolling, and everybody else playing man and just saying, Jacoby, if you beat us with your arm, good for you.
That's what they're going to do. That is going to be the Steelers not going to run any cover 2 in this game. They didn't run a whole lot last week unless it was an obvious passing situation.
Murdered if they did that.
Yeah, it's going to be just single high. It's probably going to be Edmonds down in the box, but I would imagine you might see some 3 safety sets in this where they put Norwood out as the deep safety and they keep Mink in the box as well. Potentially on like a 3rd and 5 type play.
Try to confuse Jacoby. Jacoby's not usually a guy that makes a lot of mistakes, but
he got hit 5 times, but they only gave her 1 sack. So I've got
Coughlin coming back. Obviously, that's big.
Yep.
Steelers not having TJ Watt is big. Again, for me, this game is. I think the Browns is a Thursday night at home. That's usually favors the home team by a lot. I think the Browns, personnel-wise, are better. But if the Steelers essentially stop the run, and I guess stopping meaning sub 100.
Do you think they can do it for 60 minutes, though?
Pretty much what the Jets did last week.
Question.
Containing them. I think the Steelers' defense isn't going to be the issue for them. It's just the offense.
Right.
Like, they got to get creative, whether it's trick plays, similar to what they did against the Bengals. It's got to be maybe a special teams return or something like that. Like,
Ace, if they control the run game, I'm thinking that you get have an offensive struggle game, like nobody scoring points. Now on the other side, if the Browns running game goes off, then it's just call
It's
it a
game
wrap.
over. But even in a low score, even if this is a low scoring game, don't you think that in the fourth quarter, like this defense is just going to be,
Well, it all depends
we
on your
can't.
D lineman, right? How much
Yeah.
your D lineman can resist, because it is very taxing on the linebacker, sure, but on the D lineman, especially if you bring Edmonds down, Edmonds is going to essentially be a linebacker in this game. So between him and Jack, they are going to get tired. But that D line, that rotation, right? That's so key. That rotation, D lineman. If you keep them fresh, if they can basically make life easier for the linebacking core,
Yeah,
then they could do it for 60. If that defensive lineman starts getting pushed and then the linebackers are stopping the run but working extra, right? Running around the line, spending extra energy, running, they break that one down and they now have to run all over, or basically the D line doesn't have push enough to slow down the running back, where the tackle is lesser of a pound to the body, and they have to basically always tackle full force, a Kareem Hunt or a Nick Chubb. If it always runs like that, even though a no gain or low yards game, but it's always a big collision, then yes, Tony, they won't do it for 60 minutes. If the D lineman can slow those running backs down enough that then the linebacker can squeak down and bring them down without getting a pounding to their body, then yes, they could do it for 60. It's not an easy task. I mean, very few teams are able to do it against this Browns team. It's the only way I see the Steelers winning.
I mean, they have the coaches to do it. You talk about Flores and Tomlin, like sure they can do that. It's just, and I'm not trolling when I say this. I just feel like they almost have to get like another pick six because of the offense. Because the offense has been the problem for the Steelers. The defense has played lights out, kept them in these games, but it's just the offense and the kicking game. Unless I don't know. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. That's why I would just spice it up. I'd throw Kenny Pickett out there because it's like you got these weapons. It's not like they don't have weapons. You got Deontay Johnson. You got George Pickens. You got Pat Freiermuth. You got Najee Harris. Like I don't.
Okay, but you guys. So you guys have watched a lot of Steeler tape now because we've seen two. So I said this on Q show. I said it on my show. I'll say it here too. How different do you think the Steelers offense would be from a result standpoint if they had Danny Amendola at wide receiver like 3 times? Like they had 3 Danny Amendolas at wide receiver. How much would actually change about like
nothing?
It wouldn't, right? Because what are they really doing? I mean, it's just they just need someone who's like a good enough route runner to beat guys one-on-one in these kind of underneath and safer throws. There's nothing where you need a guy to go up and win a 50-50 ball. There's none of that stuff in this offense.
But I what I was gonna say, if this game is low, I wonder if Matt Canada, I know it hasn't happened, but seeing what 2 teams has done against the Browns deep, I wonder if Matt Canada basically calls, okay, we're gonna do a lot of extra protection, right? 2 routes, 1 deep, 1 post, and Mitch on the snap, pick one and throw it. Just shuck it.
If this were a Sunday game, I would agree with you. But because this is a Thursday game, I don't know if there's enough time to be installing all. Look, the Steelers, they don't run 4 verts, right? The 4 vert is not in their playbook. They don't.
But that's my point. You're not gonna run 4 verticals.
The middle of the field either, right?
That's my point.
That route chart where like none of the
I guess my point here is all you're gonna say to Mitch, even if you put 1 round deep, and the rest are just normal underneath routes, you're gonna say, Mitch, in this route, don't even think about it. You're gonna just fucking throw it.
Right.
Shuck it down there. Because the Browns specifically because the Browns had 2 games where they are letting people go behind, right? So I almost would like for them to and I forgot the name of this route, this concept, but you put the 2 receivers on the one side and you have Deontay running an out route and see how that safety bites, and have Pickens go post deep and say, okay,
it's almost like a dagger. Well, dagger is in and up, but it's the same kind of idea. Yeah, it's like
throw it to effing Pickens over there, and if you get Pickens on me, the coach, if you get Pickens on me, but I want you to try this, right? And to finish my point, I was gonna say what you said about Mason. I think I can see a world that if you get beat by a lot, we're talking next week, Mason Rudolph starting and not picking.
And not picking. Right.
Yeah.
It's just a question of like, how much does Tomlin not want to go with the kid, but he realizes like, I got to make something. He's not going to change the quarterback.
Let's just say Mitch Trubisky goes out. This is hypothetical.
Right.
Throws two interceptions on his first 2 drives. They don't put someone else in there?
I don't.
They did.
Okay. Interceptions is the one thing that gets you benched in Pittsburgh. If you turn it's like the big no-no. Why look, you want to know why the Steelers don't throw any dangerous throws or why they don't throw over the middle of the field? Because that's dangerous, right? This team wants to win one way. Defense carries us, offense doesn't screw it up. So when you start screwing it up, that's when we start entering into, he could come in. But do I think it would take a Mason Rudolph level catastrophe like happened in 2019 in a Thursday game where I think he threw 3 in that game. He threw 3 in that game, and then in the next week, he threw another one in the first half, and then he got benched for Duck. So,
you see, this is why, not that you can do this anymore, but this is why Garoppolo would have been a good quarterback there, because Garoppolo usually is more safe, game management. I'm going to not try to screw anything up. That's why San Fran carries him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, he makes his first. You know what I said? You know what I said the other day? You know who would have been a better? What I don't understand is why they brought in Trubisky to run this offense, right? Why? How is
Matty
it?
Ice. I know you.
Baker Mayfield. They should have got
no, not Baker. No, not Baker. They should have got Baker Mayfield. No. Here, look. The Steelers decided this offseason, right? We talked post-Ben era, they can do anything they want offensively, right? There's no, because we talked about last year, well, the reason they do this is because Ben's 39, you want to run what he likes, right? But now you're not shackled by any of that stuff. You have an OC that can run whatever he wants, and you can pick whatever quarterback you want to run whatever you want. It's amazing to me that they said, we want to run the same stuff, but we just want Mitch to do it. How is that? How did you decide we want to run the same stuff and we think Mitch would be the quarterback? Here's the quarterback I threw out that I thought would be a better quarterback in this system. Jacoby Brissett would be a much better player. If you want to just play like we're just not going to lose, be real safe with the ball, make the throw when you need to make it.
Jacoby.
That's Jacoby, right? I mean, you could have saved a lot of money. You could have saved a lot of money just
because you guys get a decent contract in Mitch. Anyway,
I think Baker, even if your coaches would have said don't take a chance, he would have took a chance. He would have said,
right. Well, Baker would have, Baker would have, He would have done like the passive aggressive, like we're going.
Okay, I haven't paid attention against the super chats. We have one. We have another one here.
Before Joshua, I don't think we got one. No. Before that one is Nova Stone, so you're good. Just only Joshua.
Okay, Joshua Matter. Sorry. How concerned should we be about Burrow? He played far better last year behind an equally bad offensive line. I don't understand this setback. I will say just this, and then I'll throw it to you, Ace. As a man, there's only so many hits you can take before you start protecting yourself.
Yep.
And as the years go by and he keeps getting hit, I mean, we talk about this now for 2 years. He's gonna change because he's not like a god there that doesn't feel pain. So obviously he's gonna try to adjust to avoid hits. And if he has noticed that after his first read, he's already getting pressure, then after the first read, his internal clock is gonna start reacting. Okay, I need to move. I need to do something different, right? Yeah. And you can see all these other quarterbacks. His career has come short. The Andrew Luck. Now, Andrew Luck used to just run. He had a battle line, and he used to run head first through people. That's not the case with Burrow. But just the amount of hits, it's just gonna take a toll on him. So, people think this quarterback is just have an armor here that nothing hurts, right? So I think that's what it is. But Ace, what do you think?
I mean, that was the most disheartening thing for me watching him in that game is he clearly is like seeing ghosts. It's clearly affecting him now. I mean, the guy's been hit 115 times. The only person that was hit 13 times in 2 weeks was David Carr. I actually enjoyed reading an article from David Carr breaking down what's going on with Burrow. And that's what it is. Like the other thing I saw that was interesting, Jeff Schwartz talked about the thing with Joe now is with this new line, he doesn't know where the pressure is going to be coming from because it's inconsistent, right? Like I jumped on Volson wrongfully this week thinking that he was a part of the issue because he gave up 7 pressures, 2 sacks week 1. Well, Joe Burrow's probably thinking the same thing. He's like, okay, is Volson going to be blocking? And this past week, Volson was apparently elite, one of the best guys on the line. So that's another thing that plays into it. But should we be worried? I think you have to be concerned at least, like how much of that is going to affect him. But you have to hope that this coaching staff and this offensive line puts him in better situations to make him feel more comfortable. And if they can do that, I think he'll be fine. But, you know, they are treading in dangerous territory. This was the whole thing where everybody talked about don't Andrew Luck him. You're really knocking on the door right now if this thing doesn't turn around. If he doesn't, you know, make it out of this season, with it being just like it was last year, sure, I think you do have to be concerned about it for sure.
Yeah, and by the way, the poll, closing the poll, Browns 73.
There it is. So 3%. So 3%. It starts at 7.
That means that Hill Tony might be back. Hill Tony might return.
Oh, Hill Tony will be back if they win.
You think so?
Yeah.
There's one way that
there's the Browns.
Not. This isn't that big an upset if they beat the Browns. They
if
swept
they
them
beat
last
the
year.
Browns and the Ravens and Bengals lose.
There's one way. There's one way. There's one obvious way that Heel Tony will be back at some point this year if a very specific thing happens. And
if they sweep the Browns,
I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
No, I know exactly what he's talking about. We'll see. We'll see.
Anyway, guys,
it's not sweeping the Bengals. It's not sweeping.
It's not sweeping the Bengals.
It's not sweeping the Bengals.
That's how I thought. I guess the Ravens maybe. That's the next. That's the next logical one.
Guys are thinking too small. Thinking too small.
Now I'm curious.
Oh, I think if they win the division,
if they win the division, Heel Tony might come out. But if Kenny Pickett, Kenny Pickett were to come in mid-game and beat a division rival, you got. I mean, there's like that's beyond Heel Tony is coming.
Oh
out.
yeah. Oh yeah.
We just leave you on the screen and we just show. We're just gonna be in the back. We just leave you here vibing. Like, go ahead, Tony, do your thing. Anyway, guys, Thursday night football. We might do a Patreon video this week. So for the patrons, just be sure to look into that. If you want to be a patron,
last week paid off. So
hey, yeah,
that's right.
Yes. So if you want to be a patron, support us more. It's a very different type of stream. It's way more relaxed. So go ahead and support us that way. If you don't worry. Thank you. You can do by liking this video, sharing our content, subscribing to channel, and also Teespring. Oh, not Teespring. Look at me.
True Classic.
Presented
by True Classic here at AFC North Talk.
The
best T-shirts in
basically the opposite of Teespring, right? Way better quality.
yes, exactly. If you actually want a good T-shirt, go to Teespring or Too Classic.
So Too Classic. Also, guys, remember if you go buy, use your promo code. Send us the DM us either email or Twitter, and it will give you a special shout out. That helps us a lot. When you guys go and support our sponsors, it helps us a lot. So we do appreciate that. And yeah, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week on Monday reviewing all these games. Hopefully, my Ravens on top. Take it easy, guys.
Steelers by 100. Steelers by 1.